I jump back like this and turn it and take his throat out. She does me and I said, oh, he started going for my legs. I don't know what to do. Show him. I kicked him hard, man. I kicked boom, and he goes, I said, oh shit.
Yeah, that hurts more.
I said, okay, I know what time it is, let's go. So I'm moving around. All right. I'm gonna take you to the streets. And that's what I did. Ball kick him, bing, 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 coming up, and I start throwing. And Jackie was right there.
How was your experience with Jean-Claude?
Patrick, he was all game for it. I just knocked out the champion. I looked at him, I saw it, put thumbs up, and it was his. Then I saw it in one of his. When he go, and that's when he went, boom. Oh, this guy went back, step, hit it, and went over the chair. I jumped up. I said, I want to do that. Heart of a lion.
Hey, welcome to the BSC podcast. In today's episode, we have Benny the Jet Urquidez, world's greatest kickboxer, action movie director, action choreographer, all-around great guy, family man, father, grandfather.
Yeah, that's it. All the above.
All the above.
But don't Zap.
I'm here with Zap, and for the next hour or so, we're going to talk to Benny the Jet. Benny, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Get excited about this one, man. We had you for that little 15-minute stint the other day, and then I'm like, man, we gotta get a real style.
Well, then here we are. Right?
Here we are, man.
That's the
So take us from the start. So you grew up in a fight family. Then go back to the start. You're this way. Your mother and I.
Let's talk about my mother was a professional wrestler. My father was a professional boxer. I have no idea how they got together, but you can see the fight of blood. Yeah. So my mother was a very good wrestler. I used to ask all the time, how come you have bald spots? Back then when the women wrestlers in the 50s, they pulled hair were driving here and actually doing like a 1 hour shoulder throw with the hair of the hair. And I asked, how come you all bruised up and this that. So she said, come. But she didn't take me to the fights. She took me to the workout. And I'm watching her. I said, oh, man. I said, I want to do that. And my mom, and I'm just a little taco there. And I said, I want to do that. And she said, in time. And my father, was very macho, but I don't think I ever saw my father without a suit and a hat. He was macho, woman's man, that kind of a Rico Suave.
Yeah, that's why he had this.
That was him, and so, but yet he had, my father was very aggressive and never made it high in the boxing. He was a good boxer, but never made it as a contender. And I asked him, and he says, I do this for the ladies. And I saw some. Okay. I said, are they bouncers?
Yeah.
But that was him.
Now, did your mother and father, did they compete or in wrestling and boxing, or did they just train the art?
They competed, and then it got to the point where my father had a temper. And so one day, he actually hit my sister, and hit my sister with the left toe palm. And my sister went down, and my mom saw that. And my mom went after him, put him in the hospital. Put him in the hospital. And so I heard my mom the words, "Do you ever hit any of my kids again? You will not sit it dead. You will not hit my kids." And my mom bent it. My mom meant, and my mom was that strong. And I don't even though my father was Jesus boxer, my mom, Found his nails. Oh, she had no, she was fearless. She was fearless. And so I used to ask my mom, you know, you know, some of my friends saying that the wrestling is fake. And she said, what do you think? And I said, they had no idea what they're talking about. And I said, I said to her, why didn't they see that? And she looked at me and she said, because they know not what they're seeing. They know nothing about what they're seeing, or they see it on TV, but they don't realize what it takes to do that. You know, you get slack, in the throat. Oh, and it's slack and your whole body this. It's like rock. He said, do you know how many times you hit that rock? And he said, if the ring has spring-loaded floors, so there's give in the ring because you're coming from a higher, no, that's I am 6 feet high, and then you're another 10 feet high coming from that height, hitting, even if it has give, it is a spring-loaded floor, you're still that's the sudden stop. Boom,
That's why a lot of wrestlers nowadays they're pain pills and everything else. Yeah,
everything.
they're done. When they're done, they are done.
It's very. I've never seen anybody work so hard as these wrestlers. So
All your siblings were fighters, right?
Yeah.
So how many, just take us through, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
There was 10 of us, but one of my oldest brother passed away. So there was 9 of us. I have actually 4 sisters and 6 brothers, 5 brothers.
And everybody was a fighter.
There was 9. There was 9 Gladiators in my family, and my oldest sister is the only one did not. She fought. She was an attorney. She fought with her tongue. She was vicious. Man, I would be get hit by side anytime with a left hook in the jaw than listening to my sister.
So when you started in the combat arts, what did you start in? You started in wrestling and boxing? Boxing. And then take us through. So you box. Who'd you box with? And then how would you? Oh, you boxed
Because
with.
back then there was no PB division. There was nothing back then. In the 50s, it was all the trainers, their sons and stuff like that. They trained their sons, and we all trained, and then we fought against each other. As a little tournament, an inside-in tournament between all the fighters around uh, uh, Los Angeles, and we fought each other. And I just, the problem was I was too aggressive and too fast. So for some reason, by the time when I was 4 to the time I was 10 years old, I almost thought I was invisible. Why? I just thought nobody in the kid because my hands were very fast. I think I was always teased my father. My hands were so fast I couldn't see it. It was that quick. And even some of the trainers couldn't see what I did to their sons. So they always used to uh, tell my father, tell your son, calm down. We're just having you know. And so my father said, what the heck, you're on your son? I said, yeah. But my father would never put a headgear on me. He put a headgear on him. I make these kids, but you know what? That's why I became a body offender, man. That means I like hitting the body. I like kicking the pads. So I used to make all these kids cry with body shots.
So when was the first time you said, I'm going to go all the way with this? I got a real talent. I can kick ass. What point in your young career did you think, okay, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to go, I'm not just training it, I'm going to pursue.
Huh. Because by the time I was 6, my oldest brother, went into Kenpo karate with Mirazaki. And so obviously all of us went behind my brother. And then my brother went into Shotokan. We all followed him. But I'm a kicker, so I went into Taekwondo because I love kicking.
So your initial martial art was Taekwondo?
No, my initial was Kenpo.
Kenpo, and then you moved into.
And then I used to go work with, from there, because I was a good kicker, I was very flexible. Then I I never even learned how to do gymnastics, but just watch them, I was just gun ho. I'd be jumping over things and my mom used to, she said, "Get off, my God, get off that bed." I would be up on, I would be up on the dresser real high, jumping left to the bed and stuff. It's just, I was just so wild, you know. I was so crazy that I would go up to a tree when I was young. I would go up to a tree to see if I can get right at it. And then you're talking about almost 75, 80 to 100 feet tall. And I'm climbing, climbing, climbing. And I get right to where I can tell everybody I got to the top of the branch was maybe a half inch. And it broke. Boom! It broke. And I went pop, 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 all the way down. I hit the last branch and spun and hit perfect flat. A back slam right on my back. Boom! And I was out. They took me to the hospital. Not one bone broke. That's it. Not one bone broke. And when I hit land, because I was maybe 7 to 10 feet before I hit the ground, I hit that one. It spun me. So it stopped me from hitting the ground hard. I'm like, boom.
It broke your fall.
Yeah. And I hit it flat. If I would have landed on my rear, who knows, I would have my lower back and my spine and stuff, but I hit flat.
Yeah.
Oh,
So when and where did you win your first tournament?
after after I was boxing all these kids and making a flag, this is I was a really good boxer. I think I was what, maybe 8, 9, you know, and my brother started taking me to karate, and I was, you know what, and I was making these kids cry. I was just a natural jumper. I jump over things. I was just a natural jumper. The jump spinning back kicks and all that. My brother said, "Quit with all that foo stuff." And, my brother was very short, very Japanese style. The stand the ground, so I was standing the ground for him. As soon as he turned around, yeah, his little jumping spins, Gladiator sweet, flipping this and that. And he always to call it a foo. He said, "Quit with that foo stuff." But by the time I was boxing and doing martial arts and then that's when I met Mr. Parker. I went to the international in '64.
Well, now, when did you meet Mr. Parker? You met him fired.
Right before that, at the school in Pasadena.
No, the Pasadena one. Okay.
Not the one in
Not the one up here.
no, yes, not the one up here, the one in Pasadena.
So how did you end up? You went down there to train, or how did you?
Oh, they had a fighting class. And how old are you at this time, Dad? Maybe 11. Okay, so you're still pretty young. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So I heard about that, and I told my brother, "Can we go over there?" And we went over there, but they wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us train. Well,
And why was that? Was it because you weren't a member of the school, or you were too young?
too young.
So who was teaching those fight classes in those days?
It was my brother Arnold.
Was teaching the fight class at the Pasadena school?
No. Oh, that's
Yeah,
Enos.
yeah.
No, I'm trying to think of his name, but not. Uh, I can't think of his
Was
name.
it Charlie Sullivan?
It wasn't Joe. No, that's all the little Chuck. I think it was very heavy.
Steve Lavalley?
Steve Lavalley and
Tom Kelly?
one of them.
Tom Kelly was a big man. He was 6'4", like, he was light or younger, but then you fought at the internationals when he was fighting.
That's right.
He was what, 300 pounds, about 6'2", and he coming at you like he's 150. And he could move. He was a badass man. I first went him in 95. Eddie Downey introduced me to him, and I remember shaking his hands, like shaking hands with a gorilla. He was some sweet man.
He was like fast. That's for his. They're able to wait fast.
Yeah.
And all hard. Man. This one man had. I don't think any of them had fear for anything. And so when I first fought when I was few division, from there went into they were saying, we don't have kids at this, so I was fighting. Right, so we were fighting for rank.
Yeah.
And so we went in with rank, not with age, with rank. So I was already a high rank at the age of 14. They forced me, there was 29 black belts. They forced me to get my black belt. And it was 3-day testing. And at the end, they passed me at 14.
Now, who was they? This was,
Man, you know what?
was this in Kenpo Karava?
Kenpo karate.
In Pasadena?
No,
No?
this was
Of Birazan?
Zach.
Okay.
And so they came down and watched me for 3 days. And next thing I know it, I got my black up and everybody kicked me. And got back up, kicked me, got back up. But I was so excited. I was taking the shots, even though I was already, my brother Arnold go through my wrist. Oh, beat me. And they took me to the hospital. Everybody was mad at my brother Arnold. And my mom looked at Arnold and said, why did you kick your baby brother like that? Why did you hurt him like that? Put him in the hospital. And I heard my brother say, he broke tradition. He wasn't even supposed to get his black belt until he's 18 years old. And he broke tradition. And now what are we going to do? I'm embarrassed because now he's black belt and he has to go to national wearing the black belt. That's disrespectful. And
Why is it construed as disrespectful if the people who promoted it clearly saw?
because back then it was very, very honorable to sticking with tradition the way it was. Shotokan, it was strict. Kenpo thrilled to what he was doing. Taekwondo, it was strict. Back then, it was nothing else. You're in that, you're in that. You trade, but see, because I was so good at what I was doing, they allowed me to cross over. But do you know when I was there? Because most of them, when I started fighting, it was good for their school. So I was every tournament I went to at the national, I would take three trophies, and then the grand chapter, which was like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it was like marble, 3 feet by 4 feet marble, 3 levels. We still have those back then. I mean, and you still have those. Yeah. No. Actually, I took them apart. My mother was pissed off.
Of which you're talking about the internationals?
Yeah.
Trophy. Well, yeah. Have you seen what they look like?
Yeah, they're huge.
I have one up there. They're a big trophy. I mean, they're like this high.
For grand champion, was huge.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It took 4 of us to carry it out.
Yeah, now they're like, because I remember back in the day, as a kid, seeing the 8-foot trophy. It's like, that's. And then you finally get to the point where you get it as for
They were
buying.
expensive.
As 16 years old as you had to be able to buy it as an adult. It's the only way you could win those at 16, right? It's like 16 to 35 or something. But I remember when I finally did get one at like 17 years old, it was just plastic. But when I picked it up, I was like, dude, I thought this thing was going to be huge. And here I can carry it with one hand.
I have to say, though, for the internationals in the 60s, when Mike Stone won the grand championship and stuff,
Those were big ones.
they were, but not only were they big, there was three. There was three. There was the wooden one, the Japanese Norway. Then there was the cup, like the chalice.
That's the one you see sit on hold.
Yeah, was the cup. And hey, there was, sorry?
He's the picture with him and Bruce Lee. He's holding the cup, correct? Mike Stone.
There's two. There's one of them holding a cup, and there's one of them holding a nice trophy. Also.
I remember the cup.
Yeah. So there were what? But let's go back to your fight career, Sensei. How did it unfold? So you started in boxing. You were training with your father. You started competing in that because obviously that's what you knew at that point. And then
Started judo.
you started judo, and then did you compete in judo?
Yeah.
So you competed in judo.
All my brothers.
You competed, and then how did you get in? I take us from that point. how you got into the points fighting and then into the full contact, into the kickboxing scene. Just take us through the transition from one to the other.
Well, first,
And the time period, if you can.
I know what, in the beginning, in the 50s, I already, PvP and with all boxing from actually 58 to 60. And then I started boxing, and then I started judo. And I can't remember, but he was part of Irazaki's, and he was, where was that? That was on Lancashire.
Oh, in the valley.
Yeah, in Bellum. And so I started doing judo and Kenpo karate with them. And then, probably when I was 10 years old, is when I started, I think, 60 or first international. With Teague. So,
First German was 16.
yeah. So I went there and I took, we have destroyed all the kids. Yeah.
So that was the first time you set eyes on Bruce Lee. Take us through your thoughts.
Yes. Well, because after I went through my division fast, and back then you're talking about you fought on these anywhere from 15 to 18, 20 times. That's how many people they were, and you were fighting constantly. But I was, and somebody told me, "Oh, we're gonna see Bruce Lee," and I said, "Who? Exactly who? Yeah, Bruce Lee. You know who Bruce Lee is?" So I said, "Okay." He says, "Oh, you gotta see him." My brother, Ruben, is the one that said, "You gotta see this guy." So I went and I squeezed right in front. And there was the square, okay, the ring, and I'm sitting down cross-legged, looking up at him, and he's talking. And my brother's behind me, and he's talking about the 4 inch, square 4 inch that. And I turned to my brother and I said, "Brother, what are you talking about?" My brother slapped me in the head. Oh, I feel the head. I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, it's step back." I said, I was curious why he was talking. I had never heard it. Yeah. I just wanted to know why it was talking. Yeah. And so then he started talking about how he generates the power. And it comes up, and then it says, "Oh," he snaps, and I'm looking. He's black as one. He's must be 225 pounds, holding us still plate about these big round on his chest into a cover position. Yeah. He's talking, holding his finger like this, talking about the generations of power and this is this. And they moved. He actually, before he did it, he looked at the chair and he moved the chair even further back. And I said, "Oh, he didn't want to let him sit down." Yeah, he didn't want to let him sit down. So, yeah. So he moved, I actually moved the chair back for that reason. So he went back and he started talking about generating his power. And I didn't understand that. And I kept looking at my brother, and my brother from my face. Listen. And so every time you said to the whole other ask, and he didn't want me to ask. And after he finished, he made this noise. Ooh, and I thought it was a key eye, but the way he started generating, and all of a sudden I said, I'm going like this because man, it gives you chills. Yeah, just the way it was generating this energy of sound. And it was a vibration. To this day, I can still feel it. But this is vibration that he just held, and that's when his thumb went like this. He was like gun, almost like this, but all of a sudden it's like this, and all of a sudden I saw it go like this. When he's going, and all of a sudden he went, boom. Oh, this guy went back, step, hit it, and went over the chair. I jumped up. I want to do that. Yeah. And this guy, he hit it. He hit his chest and came up to his jaw, the plate. And he rolled over. And everybody's clapping this and that. And I'm looking, not at him. I'm looking at the guy that was like just yeah, no, he's going to his jaw like I said.
Oh, he came up and hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Oh,
But when he hit the jaw,
When you move back,
we were like this, and went there's that
oh,
on his chest. And so in that, I thought to myself, how does he does with that? And clean. My mom used to talk about internal power and what we call breath medicine or the reservation. And breath medicine is about different type of generating power. And so such are certain warriors. And I was listening to my mom tell me, never understood it. But when I listened to Bruce, made sense to them.
yeah.
But I didn't understand what my mom was saying. But I compared them. Why? Because it was the same internal backward energy that my mom was trying to explain to me. But maybe because I needed to see it.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I heard it,
Just snap.
felt it, and I saw what happened. That's why I jumped up. I jumped and said, I walked like then I told my brother, can I spar on him? And he said, you don't have enough experience. Yeah. I'm just a little cop.
Yeah.
You don't have enough experience. Every tournament, I took grand champion.
But your tenacity of just like, I think that's just so awesome to hear that even at 12 years old, your inner warrior was like, can I spar with him? Can I learn with him? That's just something to be said about that. I mean, because that would intimidate 99.999 repeating people. You know what I mean?
That was exciting.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. And to hear it, feel it, and look at it with all my senses, him doing that, man, there was an explosion in me that I want that.
Even with you telling it right now, because we've heard that story from a couple other people, the way you tell it, it's more visceral. And it's like, I can almost feel it. You know what I mean? The way you're telling it, like it was almost like we're there. Like what you were talking, it almost sounded like a shotgun in a way, like that's
I mean, the way he hit that plate and the way the guy step, boom, hit the chair and the chair just, and so I thought maybe the chair would slide.
yeah, it just
He
kind of
hit that chair, boom, I mean, that's how hard he hit.
Yeah.
He hit and went back. That's how hard he hit. And maybe it was the weight of the plate, but I don't know. But it's like, what stuck behind that chair that made it tip? But the force of this guy hitting the chair, moving back with this plate,
Yeah.
the excitement of it was
Oh, I got chills when we were.
all I know is I got up. That's the first thing that came out of my lip. I want to be there.
well, I was talking to Guru down in Osaka once, and I asked him one time we were having a talk. I asked him about Bruce's punch.
It's one of those.
Not just his punch in general. He was relatively a small guy. He
Yeah.
was not a very big man.
It wasn't.
So, how would his punch differ from that of Mike Tyson? Of course. I mean, I know what the difference is, but I wanted to see what Guru Dan will tell me.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Bruce's punch was more like it was going to penetrate your organs. It was like a whip. He says, well, Mike Tyson's is going to send you flying. Well, it's more about thud.
He wants to breathe.
Yeah, but Bruce is more like a whip. It's going to go in, it's going to like shake up your organs. And another person that told me the same story actually was Pat Strong, who was one of his first students in Seattle. He said the same thing, but so
Did he do anything else other than the 1-inch punch that day? Do you remember seeing any other?
Everybody was just in awe of that.
Yeah.
And the port was my mother. I told my mother. And then I told my mother, she was up in the stands. I waited, told my mother, did you see that? You told me it did not know what she's saying. Calm down. She says, let me tell you what just happened. I said, what happened? What happened? Tell me, and she said, first of all, if you can see the vibration of what he did, and I say, what do you mean? The vibration of his, it was like, she explained it to me like thunder. She said, you see thunder, how thunder hits and there's a ripple? That's how my mom explained it. There's a, wow, type of and yeah, and that's what my mom was saying. Did you see that from this point? The thunder was it. Wow, that was a thunder. The after was what you saw. The after effect. After that, oh, the after effect, the ripples of energy. This is how my mom explained it to me. I said,
That's deep.
I could never understand my mom when she's talking.
Could you get it out?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, and that's what's cool about it is I got it way back. I just didn't get it at the time. And the first time of what, yeah, I didn't get it at the time because
Seeing is believing. You saw it.
yeah,
And then it was like,
I saw it, I felt it, I tasted it, I smelled it, I was there.
So, Sensei, when was your first kickboxing? In the ring, boxing gloves on.
Actually, it was called full contact karate because I kept on winning tournaments and I was beating them, and then I was getting disqualified to excessive contact and this and that, and I was cutting people over my jump skins and this. I was hurting people, and then I got bored. I said, you know what? I'm tired of being disqualified. So when we went on 69, we went to go now to Europe on the Elvis Presley's team. We were training, and they wanted to take me being the smallest, and they wanted to take me and show what kind of force it's not about. So we were training this, and then when we went, everybody kept on saying, "We're gonna fight Yiddish. We're gonna fight Yiddish," and I said, "Well, who's this?" And that's exactly what I said. I said, "Well, I'm thinking, well, who's this?" I said, "Oh, I don't." And they all, I said that, "Oh, I don't." They all look at me like, and almost I could almost read them say, "Okay, you be the psychopath slap. Somebody thought you and will beat the rest." That's what I got out of what they said. Okay. And they all agreed, okay.
who's they are? Who was on the team, Billy?
And there was,
John Nativita.
it was, the Shotokan, it got split straight open.
They had Ryan Marchini. Ron Marchini.
Was Bill on it? Bill Wallace.
Bill wasn't on that, was he? Was Bill on that team?
No.
No. You had Ron Marchini. You had yourself. You had John Nativita. You had
The big one from Utah, he's,
yeah. Well, we'll have to research.
Legends on that team.
That wasn't 69 though. That was 78. No. Was it 69? Okay. That was the one that Parker coached, right? He came on that team. It was in Belgium, right?
yeah, it was in Belgium.
Yeah.
It was an early one, right before, because I know right after that, I did a couple of other tournaments and I got disqualified. So I decided to box professionally. I started boxing with Bob Chikor. And Randy Shields and all, I named especially with Bob Chikor. And I'm ready for it. Then somebody said, you wanna fight full contact karate? What? He said, you wanna fight full contact karate? And I said, what is that? He said, well, it's karate to the knockout. And the first thing that came out of my mouth, I will get disqualified. He said, no, it's to the knockout. And I will get disqualified.
Yeah, because you've been qualified up at that time, right?
Yeah. So in 73, it's the first time everybody's going to Hawaii. This is at the Blaisdell Arena in Hawaii. And there was no weight divisions, no rules. The Drew and I, godly, we fought. It was just elimination, didn't care. And there was no rules.
That's awesome.
There was no rules, no weight division, no nothing. So that's the first time full contact karate.
Now, did they have the inset pads and the boxing gloves at that time, or you were just, no, that's awesome.
You know what they had? The safety chop was foam. Then you put your two fingers into, and the safety chop went from here to here. It was just a little cut, and it was like a half inch. Foam.
So barely in.
It went from here to here. Wow. I hurt my hands more with that than without it.
Right.
Because it gives you a false protection.
Yeah.
But it did, because all you had just two little You need to put your fingers in.
Yeah.
And then it came from here to here.
And, you know, when you have something like that, that's a surface area that connects and
If
sticks.
it sweats,
Exactly.
if it sweats, it slips.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you're dry, it sticks.
Sticks.
But when it
causes
sticks,
damage.
it pulls everything what my fingers were in, it pulls it back. But you know, when you hit it sticks on the face, it pulls it back.
Yeah.
And I checked that so many times. Why do we have to fight with these on?
Yeah.
Why do we have to fight three knuckles? And they said, no, you have to but you know what? Believe it or not, I thought to myself, can I take these off? And they said, so then I started fighting. The first one, I fought this one guy, and yeah, strong. And he was the other time, he had this smile. I said, okay. We went, I chased him. I went right at him. I went like a crazy man after him, man. It was like a leaf sucking out his blood, man. I just went like a crazy person. And all of a sudden, he was down, and they grabbed me. I cut because I figured, hey, no rules. So I'm ready to jump at them, and then managed to throw me off. And we're on this, we're on the stage. No ropes for nothing. We're just on the stage. And he threw me up, I almost fall off the stage. And the guy didn't want no more. Yeah, it was it. It was done.
Now, when you were, so this was actually full contact, right? When you did the point fighting back in the day, what I noticed when you look at their stances back in the day, they still have the stances here, whereas nowadays they're always bladed and covering their body. Have you noticed that? Like, where do you think that come about? I know it's a side thing, but where did that come about?
When there's rules where you can kick to the groins and you can kick to the head, and that is what you're doing is protecting the groins.
But the Japanese rules today, they still fight like this.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they square. But they are so fast with that reverse punch.
The problem is one, two shots at a time. They come to the fight with a shotgun.
Yeah.
When I fought there, or when I fought in Japan, I fought with those guys. They fight 1, 2 shots at a time. Man, I came with a machine gun. Man, it's all over.
So let's go back to Hawaii. So you fight that guy, you beat him. Now, was that an elimination bout or was that for champion?
I fought 7 times.
70 one day.
One day.
And you won all 7. So you beat the you had to have an division.
Oh, my dropped them. I said, the first thing they're going to
Serious is on by you because
I put my hand up. I said, oh, I didn't get this call
like this.
I read and told my brother. Yeah, it's my brother, my younger brother, Smiley and Blinky. They didn't disqualify me. I said, brother, you can actually really hit him now. So Blinky fought next, knocked him out with a left hook. Oh, and Blinky already put his hands up because why? He knew it was.
Yeah, you won. Yeah,
Yeah, it was real.
yeah.
So I fought this other guy. I can't think who he was, but pretty tall. And I says, I didn't even know about thigh kicking. I just happened, I was going for a sweep, but he went back and I kicked him in the thigh. And Mono, he went forward.
This is in the full contact karate.
Full contact right, but there was no thigh kicking. I mean, you could do everything, but I didn't know anything about thigh kicking. There was no such thing. And so I went to kick him in the calf. He moved forward, and I hit him right in the thigh. And he went like this.
That's smart.
And man, I hit him. Bam, bam, bam. I jumped on top of him, and I just went at him, and they grabbed me. And I'm still kicking the punches they got me, man. And all of a sudden they say, and everybody from the upstairs start coming down. They say everybody start getting closer and closer, watching you.
Yeah.
And then, but you know how many rings that were going on? It must have been in 10 rings. 5 on each side. But every time I fought, all the rings stopped. They all came to my ring to watch me fight. Now, all the ones that were fighting, they stopped.
Yeah.
Where does the... You and I spoke about this incident in the past. There was an incident at the Coliseum. One of your fights. It was
the Olympic auditorium.
The Olympic auditorium. So that was your first fight with a guy from overseas, was it? So take us through that whole thing because they thought you were being disrespectful.
Okay. So after I withdraw,
First of all, in relationship to the timeline of fine,
This is Kip.
where's some 70? Okay, where's this fight at the auditorium? What period are we?
full contact Roger started with 73. I moved on in 75. In 75, I started because again, after I beat this, when I said I moved on, my brother said, "You're the world champion." I said, "Brother, how can I be the world champion? I haven't been outside the United States. I beat everybody here." He said, "Well, they're coming from different places." I said, "Brother, I don't feel like a world champion." He says, "Oh yeah." I said, "Yeah, you want to call me world champion?" So 2 months later, he says, "Want to fight Muay Thai?" I said, "I'll fight him."
He's a guy. You thought he was me. Like, then it was like, no, that's all.
I had no idea. I said, "I'll fight him." And the brother said, "Okay." And then the bridge, I think it was like 6 weeks later.
That is awesome.
And so Ernest Hart is a semi-event on the main event. So there's some other fighting going on for kickboxing going on, and then Ernest Hart goes out. He's the semi-event, and he went out, and so I was going to go out to watch him. My brother said, "Don't worry, just you'll do good." With that, then and he was doing good, moving around, doing his splash, and then suddenly got knocked out.
Oh,
What do you got to do in the third round? They go, I wanted to see what was, but my brother just kept me in the room and said, "You don't need to see any of it."
And then who did you end up fighting? Which bout was this?
This was the wrong no, I think.
And this is the one that, because I think you know who Mighty Mars Johnson is.
Yeah.
He, I believe, just did like a commentary on that fight. That was your first Muay Thai match, correct? Yeah, so he did a commentary just recently, put it up on his YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen it. You got to see it.
Well, is it that fight though?
Yeah.
Tell us
Demetrius,
tell us about the fight, how it unfolds. So then you'll know it has to fight.
After my brother said it, Ernest got stopped. And I says, "Okay." I said, this showtime. Yeah, my brother said, "All right." So he says, he looked at my eyes, he says, "How you feel?" I said, "Another day in the Milky Way." Yeah. Yeah. He looked at me, he said, "Okay." So that's all he wanted to hear me say.
Yeah. See,
And that's what you were not say, they didn't want to put hey in the bag. So but he got me, I mean they laced me and everything said, but didn't put okay.
they didn't wrap you up.
Yeah. Oh no, he did rap.
Oh, okay.
But they needed it on the ring. They needed the
Oh, they needed to submit in the ring. Gotcha.
so they wanted to so he we're going down and I'm listening to the Thai music. I'm listening to Thai music. And so all of a sudden I get off, and while he's doing that, everybody is clapping this and that and get into. I go in the ring, and I'm on the other side, and I'm starting to. I don't know if I dance it a little bit, so I'm starting to move with this music, and so all the time people think I'm making fun of it.
Oh.
Because I was just, I never heard that before, so I'm just kind of moving with it, and my son, he got back up, and then he started sliding,
Doing his dance.
yeah, then all of a sudden he came right in front of me and he
Said something.
and he shot and I looked at him, I saw put thumbs up and he was pissed. He was angry. Man. And then all of a sudden he went back and I could feel his body posture going back. In other words, he's pushing his quarterman out like this is I know he was mad.
Yeah.
The ball rang. So I go to and yeah, I go to touch gloves. Man, he would run out and I went boom. I didn't put my leg. I jumped back like this, and he kicked my leg, and I went and I said, "All right." I said, "Okay, I know what time it is. Let's go." So I'm moving around, and then he started going for my legs, and I'm thinking, "What is he doing?"
Yeah.
So I went for it. I believe it was a judo sweep with the bottom of my foot.
Oh,
A judo sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah, boom, boom, and then he grasped me and this ledge clinch. And when he's clinching me, he's turning me. So he's throwing me off the ground. I went to hit his body, boom, boom, boom. He's throwing me and knee. And then he's trying to knee my face. So I put my hand like this, and I'm hitting him, but I can't get out of his grip.
Yeah.
Can't get out of it. And the bell rang. And actually they had to come and push the referee had to go in between us because this guy would not stop and finally broke him. And the referee was telling him,
Yeah.
if you didn't understand, he kept on going like
Go to
this.
your corner, yeah.
And so my brother said, you see, it wasn't my brother, it was, can't even tell you, they were in my corner and he was telling me, all right, don't let him grab you. I said, so what do I do? He said, don't let him grab you. I said, so what do I do? Yeah. He said, he had no idea of it. So the second round came. And then that's when I started to I realized he didn't even say, he came right at me. Man, he went through and I moved, man. If he was today, he would have, man, broke my head open with that elbow. And I'm moving this and that, and he's kicking, and I don't know what to do. So I'm jumping over his leg, trying to, I don't know how to block him. Yeah. So I go to kick, I saw my brother yelling, kick. So I'm doing spin kicks, I'm doing different, because I didn't know, I didn't know what to do. Finally, when after the second round came, I came back and I'm telling my brother, what is he doing? He's street fighting me. This guy is elbowing me in my face. He's trying to lean my face. He's I don't know what he's doing. He says, go back. Kick his legs like he's kicking your legs. Show him. The round came. I said, all right. Man, I mean, in my mind, I'm gonna break this guy's legs. Yeah. I kicked him hard, man. I kicked, boom, and he goes, I said, oh shit.
Yeah, that hurts more.
My legit, it was killing me. And I'm telling my brother, this guy smelled. Because I see they're up there and he goes, shh.
Oh, they're looking all the stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I'm looking, I said, what the hell are they doing on him? Because whatever they're putting on his legs, the sweat is coming in my skin and burning my eyes. I said, my eyes are burning. And he's saying, don't let him grab you. My brother did have no idea what it is. He had no idea because he never seen it himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I figured, all right, you want to go like that? So the fourth round came. I said, all right, this is the fight now. This one I start to realize, ball kick him, bing, 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 coming up, and I start throwing. He clinched me, man. I just kept on throwing this and that. And finally I grabbed him. I picked him up and I did a judo throw, I picked him up and I actually slammed him on his head. Boom! I got back up. So and I'm looking at him. You want to fight like that? This and that. He gets right back up, does this, comes after me again, trying to elbow me, this and that. I ball kick him, boom. He clinched me. I throw him again on his head. I'm trying to break his neck, man. Why? Because this guy he was coming right for, half the time I moved. Otherwise, he would have split me wide open.
Now, is this the one that you finished him off with a spin back kick?
No.
No. Okay, so then this is a different fight.
No.
The one that Demetrius was commentating on,
Oh,
you ended him with two. You hit him with a spin back kick, dropped him,
no.
and then you hit another.
This is the first time I really is a ever. I'll be time is the first time. And then finally, when this guy started, he jumped up. Boom! Up over the head. I just went like this, and I said, I'm looking around and I'm feeling something warm coming down my face. It was blood. It cut me open with the down elbow. And that's when I said, all right, I'm gonna take you to the streets. And that's what I did. I went right after him. But Mike, he couldn't be touching me. He tried to keep me this out of my pain. I gave him no breathing room whatsoever. And this guy goes, stop. He didn't take no bull. He took the punishment, because most people would have went down.
And that changed though how you viewed fights after. Then you because now you converted your training. You added a part. What did you went?
I added
leg jabs, elbows.
but I was doing elbows karate elbow.
So you were swinging it through her leg.
I was doing karate. I learned this. They're leaping at they're around me.
Yeah.
And so I watched that and I said, why are they flipping? But then I started realizing, oh, they're using the elbow like a knife. They're cutting me like this, just like a jab. They're cutting me. That's how you cut somebody open. Yeah, it's like a jab, and then they're cutting me open with the arms. And I learned that. So then they, in Japan, they wanted to know who is this Smirks that just beat the Thai champion. Now, what had happened, and the reason why I beat him is because I was beating him with all kinds of points. But they wasn't giving this guy low kick and elbow score points because the judges never seen that.
I'm saying for it.
So they wasn't scoring. So I was way ahead of the game. Otherwise, it would have been real close. Yeah. Because but I threw 3-4 times more than he did, but they wasn't counting his low kicks and his elbows and so forth. But I didn't realize that's what they do. I didn't, and the reason why I found that out is when I'm in Japan, these Muay Thai fighters in Japan are doing the same. I don't really recognize it.
Yeah, you saw it.
I really recognize it. No, I just saw. I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt every bit of what this Thai champion did.
So this guy really revolutionized how you train it and prepare.
I changed things because I realized the clinch. I didn't know how to get out of the clinch. I didn't know how to block, and that's why I created the Shin guards. I created the Shin guards in '74. You know why? Because I'm watching. I'm seeing what he did. So I'm telling my brother kick my leg, and I'm like this. I said, "Oh, man, that hurt it." So I went to an old man. He was a shoe repair man, and I told him, I told him I want something here. Can you something for protection? Can you make something for me for protection? On Shin, and he goes, why? And so I gave him an example of kicking and bringing the leg up and did a kick. And he looked at me and thought about it. And he came back and he brought 3 different poles, 2-inch, inch and a half, an inch pole. And I figured 2 inch, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take the big one, but the big one. And so he had to form leather and certain things. He had a machine. So he got this pole, put it on there, and formed it in my shin like this, and then put it on my shin, and then he measured it and cut. Then after that, I said, I need to keep it out. And then he figured out knuckle.
So he literally revolutionized. Him and you revolutionized padding.
That's it. The Shin guards.
That is
Better not. The reason for that, because man, I was getting brutal. That's why I came up with the Shin guards. So at the, and then in '80s when I started making all Shin guards for that were also this one guy, he was making gloves in his garage with him and his brother. So I asked him if he could make me something like this, and then he came and he put leather over it,
made it even better.
and made it look good. Made it look, so I said, "Oh, those are cool." And he said, "If I make these for you," he said, "I'll just charge you for the material, but can I sell them?" I said, "I don't care. Give me a good deal. I don't care what you do." That guy became a multimillionaire. He has a lot of property in Mexico City.
That's awesome.
So to go back, so you went to Asia, and you fought in Japan. Many times. Did you fight in Thailand also?
Matter of fact, they didn't win because they all came.
They all came to Japan.
They came to you.
So how many times did you fight in Japan? Because I know your last fight was in Japan.
Yeah.
But you fought a number of times. Was it in the 70s and the 80s?
In the 80s, and because the first one I fought, no, it wasn't the 70s. The first one I fought was in '76, and it was and the end of '75, '76 was around that Muay Thai. After that, 3 months later, I ended up in Japan fighting Suzuki. I stopped him, took his first title. I mean, I was the first American to take their title from them. After I took their title, they had me come back 3 months later. They couldn't, and they started booking champions, different champions from different weight divisions. They started bringing champions, and so I started going practically every 4 to 6 months. I was back in Japan fighting if they won that belt.
Yeah.
They couldn't accept American beating them.
Now, what did the audience think? What did the spectators of
After I knocked out Suzuki the first time,
did they love you?
they were
They just couldn't believe
it was scary. It was that scary. It was quiet. You're talking about 10,000-15,000 people.
Well, the Japanese audience, though, is relatively quiet, aren't they? Compared to the American audience, no?
Back then, when they have a fighter, they cheer the fighter. When I was fighting Suzuki, after I knocked out Suzuki, and after they had no, it's like they couldn't believe I just knocked out their champion.
But did they take to you like in the future? Did they ever get behind you?
Yes,
Yeah.
because then they brought up the undefeated champion. He was undefeated. He retired just maybe 8 months ago. They brought him out because he was training. 6 months later, I came back and I fought again. And my brother, this guy, he didn't come into the weigh-in. And when I came in, then he came in. I said, brother, he is not, he is not 142. I said, one of his legs is 142. I said, look at those legs. And this guy, man, huge legs. Thin body, big legs. And I said, my brother said, you want to fight him? I said, no. We'll fight. And my brother kept on saying, watch out for his leg. He's powerful with his leg. He destroys people with his leg. But he kept on telling me in my ear, watch out for his leg, watch out for his leg. So the bell rings, we go the first round, and I'm moving around. And all of a sudden, he goes like this, and I thought he was going to kick me. So I went like this to clinch, hits me with an overhand right. Oh, I hit the ground. I look up at him, and he had this little smirk on his face. And I smiled, I jumped up. I said, okay, and the audience went crazy. And that son, they were, this guy came at me, and I went to clinch him. He threw me. My legs came off the ground, at least a foot off the ground. Because I had a hold of his arms just to stop him. And he threw me, man, practically. My legs came off the ground, and I hit the ground. I got up, and I said, damn, this guy's strong. I said, okay. So now I'm moving around. Now I'm moving, bang, bang, moving around, kicking this and that, the bell rang. And I said, brother, this guy, man, is not 142. And so he don't hit like 142. He don't move like 142. And my brother said, you can stop him. I said, you're not stopping nothing. He says, what complaining? I said, I'm not complaining. You're telling you. Yeah. And he said, I see with my own eyes. I see the guy. So then I started coming after the guy in the third round. And after I started coming after him, and then he started doing whipping power round kick, not slipping. I'm moving. By the time third round,
now you're the answer.
now I got him up here. I said, it's another turn. He clinched me, hit his body. Boom, boom. I put, when he got me clean, I put my arm right through, clenched his arm. I got him by the neck, and they would make me easy. And I tell you what, man, by then I already knew how to work this guy.
Yeah.
And by the time the first round came, I said, this guy is coming at me like bombs. He went to shoot a ball, and I reaped him. He jabbed, shot that right pass, and I reaped him. I came up, left hook him. Bang, 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 bang. And he was trying to stand on his feet, and I drove him all the way back to the ropes. Kept on driving. He was trying to grab me. He couldn't see. I was like a piston. I was like, he must have thought I had 8 arms because they were going low, high, up. And every time he would try to grab me, I even forearmed him. Oh, my forearm would have a go. Oh, move the man. Yes, I was doing that. I said, you want to fight like that? Come on. And after that, he went down. And when he went down, I went like this, and the referee choked up,
Pull you off.
threw me off him. And I turned around, and I'm stopping, I'm looking. In the crowd, I was like in the middle of, like in a concert, those big speakers, the vibration from them. That's what I felt like. I was in a big speaker with all this vibration of yelling. I've never seen Japanese be so loud. And there were. And then after that, he just rolled over.
That was it. And here's the one that Mighty Mouse did. I don't know what actual fight this is, but Mighty Mouse was commentating, and I'll bring this up on the camera. Do you remember this one?
No. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, if you look at my book,
Yeah,
he is on the cover with me on my book from Japan.
that's him.
That's
Okay. This is the one you took out with the back tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a hell of a back kick.
And it's so awesome. I remember watching this because Mighty Mouse is a legend in MMA world. I mean, just an absolute legend.
Yeah.
And him, like being able to listen to him break down your fighting style, and especially something that is what year was that? Would you say in the 80s, right? For him to be able to do that and break it down, like, and he was able to kind of like, call things out and be able to see where this guy was messing up, where you could see it. It's just phenomenal to see, because at the end of the day, it's a conversation, and fighting is still the same conversation. It's just gotten better, right?
The fighting, depending on what type of fighting and what kind of energy you put into the fight. Some people fight mentally, some people fight physically, some people fight spiritually with faith, and some people fight playing a physical game of chess. And they have it calculated. If he does this, he might do that. If he does this, I'll do this. They got it down to a science.
Science, yeah.
The problem is with that, I said, how did you know?
Science isn't always right.
See, to them, they studied my fights, they studied my film, they studied thinking that this guy put different pressure on me. And that was one of the interviews. How come you fought different? And I said, simple as this, because the pressure he put on you was different than anybody else. That's why.
Now, let's talk about some of your fights in Hong Kong that were on the mats, but the same equivalent of being in the ring. Let's talk about the one where they took you to a warehouse. You're in Hong Kong, and they took you to a warehouse, and it's an interesting... Can you talk about that?
All I know, I'm going to talk about, this is all I can say about it. He goes, his vibe kept on saying to me, and they said that the reason why I got there in beautiful lips. I wasn't there to actually fight. I was actually promote a film and so forth. And he offered me a lot of money. I said, for what? He said, this guy here, no problem, And I said, oh, if there's no problem, why are you willing to pay me that kind of money? And they said, and then I thought to myself, okay, I'll do the exhibition. In my mind, yeah. I'll do an exhibition of extra good money and an exhibition. That's what I thought I was going for. I wasn't there. I was there to promote a movie, not the fight. And then they take me at a beautiful hotel. This hotel was beautiful. And then they come in a limousine. And they take me, I'm in the Cologne side. They take me this limousine. And I said, oh, that's nice, man. Going in style, right. And we're going there, son. From the Cologne side, we go on in the tunnel when, to the episode. Yeah. And that's, the Hong Kong side.
Yeah.
And I'm going and I'm saying, so I'm trying to make conversation. So where we're going with, what is this arena or a dojo or what? And they go, yeah. I said, no. I want to know where we're going and this and that. And he says, okay, no problem. I said, do you speak English? Yeah. He says, okay. I said, see, you know what? I'm trying to have a conversation with this guy, man. He kept brushing me off. So we're driving. Now, I look out the window, and the windows were checking. So I rolled out the window, and he goes, and I looked at him, and I grabbed his hand. And I looked at him. I said, I want air. And so he said something to the guy, and the air conditioning came with this and that. I wanted to see.
Yeah, where the hell are you?
Yeah. And we're going, I've never seen. We're going up some hills that I've never seen. Okay. Enjoy the ride. So I rolled back up to the window and I'm staring at this camera. I said, what are we doing? He says, okay. And I'm looking at him like, what the hell is okay? What does that mean? Do you understand English? So finally, I say, stop. We get out. I'm looking, where's the cars? I don't see any cars. I see a building with a light and this big, you hear that movie actor? Big Chinese guy with the, 007.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Big guy, yeah. That's what I'm seeing at this front door. And I'm saying, well, where's all the cars? I don't see any cars. And he goes, okay. And I said, okay, man.
It's the only wording
I'm going to down you again. I'm going to down you right now. So we get there, opens the door, and I'm seeing people. Okay? And when I walk in, I see this cage, I see this, and it's like in a big circle, and I see all these people like are bleachers all the way around this and that, and I see like a door, 5 foot, 6 foot, 5.5 foot door like this, and I'm saying, am I going to fight first? I'm going to fight second. He goes, yeah. I said, am I going to fight first or am I going to fight second? What am I going to do? He goes, okay. And then he takes me in this room. I'm in the room. I said, yeah, all right. And then, so I went to open the door and the guy is locked. So I slammed the door, opens up. I said, why'd you lock the door? He goes, I said, I need tape and I'm short of tape. He goes, he closed the door and he locks it. So I'm saying, all right, suckers. So I'm thinking, we're going to have a fight right here.
Yeah.
So next thing I know, I'm standing and I'm waiting for whoever is going to come through that door because I'm thinking it's going to start right now. So I'm like this. They open the door and I'm like this and he goes, he just need tape, gauze, and mouthpieces. I didn't have anything there. I had my gi bottoms.
Yeah.
I always take my gi bottoms wherever I go in case I do a demonstration or whatever. I had gi bottoms. And I had gi bottoms and that's it. And so he gave me tape and he says, okay, close the door. So I asked him, and he opened the door. I said, doctor coming in here? Doctor to check me, my hands, check. Yeah, and he goes, okay. Close the door. And I said, you know what? I would do. I put tape, man, and I put gauze, and I put tape. This sucker man was like a hammer.
Yeah.
I figured, you're not going to come one act like that? Fine. I put tape to this point, and it was locked. And then I put gauze, then I put tape on it. So they can only see there's only tape on top.
Yeah.
On both of them. I said, man, if I hit somebody, his ancestors are gonna feel it.
Yeah.
And if I hit somebody with these. And so then I put some people around the elbow. So I'm hearing yelling and screaming and this and that. And so I started stretching. I started moving and blocking that noise. I'm just getting into my own self. They come, they say, okay. I said, you know what? Let me get over it. They already gave me their money. I don't care about the rest. And I get there, I come out, and this guy's on the other side. It is not round, it's square. And he's on the other side, so I come in, I go. So, and the guy is blowing the towel on like this, and he blew wind on him from the towel, and his back is turned to me. So I think, okay, I'm a showboat. I start doing Muhammad Ali movements, flipping that, doing this. I'm going to put on a show.
Yeah.
My thoughts. Hey? And so I said, I said, water? Water? He says, no water. So, and I looked, and the guy touched me on my shoulder. I turned, he hands me a beer. Oh, I looked at him, I said, it's okay. So I said, you know what, you just get this over with. The bell goes, not a ding. This guy turns around and says, to the death. I thought I heard it, but I just think, oh, maybe that's just something he says at show. So I go out there and I'm moving around, binge moving, and I think this guy's coming at me. And I'm just moving around. He tries to elbow me, I'm slipping, moving. I'm giving a show. I think I'm doing an exhibition.
Yeah.
In my mind. And this guy's, boom, trying to elbow me, trying to knee me, and then he's trying to kick my kneecaps. He's trying to go right side kick my kneecaps. And one time he kicked the front, I happened to move. He hit it as I moved. And that's when I hit him. Boom, boom, boom. And then he goes, and he just turns around and walks away. And I'm like this, like I'm trying to hit him like that. I said, so I said, oh shit. I said, you know what? How with it? I go back to where I was. And I'm thinking, and they got one guy on the inside, the other guy on the outside, blowing the air, rubbing his neck, rubbing his temple. And I said, yeah, man, I want that.
Yeah.
But then next thing I know, I'm just standing there. And I turned because I'm feeling something on my back. I turned, I look, and he's going all drunk.
Yeah.
To my back. So I moved away, from that. I moved out a little bit so he can't touch me. I said, you know what? Get that out of your head. I've skipped on saying, get that out of your head. Just pay attention to what's in front of you. I went, this guy turned around. To the left.
Says it again.
Oh yeah, and I looked at him, and my heart started pumping a little bit because I heard him.
Yeah, it's
already. So I moved around. I shot him right across his face. I broke the board, and it went poof. He couldn't see. This side was like this, and he couldn't see out of one eye because this one's already closed, and this one here, and so I'm probably. The rep. Look at it, he can't see. Stop the match. Look at it. He can't see. He can't. And he says, okay. And this guy came at me again, and I just kicked out. Boom. And then I came at him, boom, boom, and he clinches me. I put my head underneath his armpit, and I had him for the side, and I was hitting his ribs. And I heard it. Boom, boom, and he went, and I threw him down. And I over him, I'm saying, stay there or I'm going to put you in the hospital. And I'm talking to him like if he understood me.
Yeah.
And I'm yelling and screaming at him, you better stay there and this and that. Or, And so I go to settle and I'm moving around. I'm moving around like, I'm waiting for them to put my hand up.
Yeah.
So I'm going around just waiting. And the referee is ignoring me. and going, and the guy jumps over and gets his guy. They take him, and they take him there, and they spraying, and doing whatever they're doing. They actually close the closing, and they're putting Vaseline to close it, so it was like squirting out like a gun, like a squirt gun. And I'm looking at him, I say, and I'm yelling and screaming at the referee, "Stop the match!" This guy, I broke his rib. He can't see. I broke on his eye. He can't see me. He can't breathe. Stop the match. I'm yelling at him. And the guy turned around. And Baroni, his hand was down because I knew I broke that rib. He was like this. To the death! By then, I freaked out.
Yeah.
This time, I heard it, and my heart, I freaked out.
Yeah,
I went after him. I went after him like a crazy guy. I mean, to me, I thought it was a street fight. I just went right after him. Jumped at him, kicked him, boom, boom, I grabbed him. I actually picked him up, threw him down, and boom, I stopped him. Bang, and I'm yelling and screaming at him. And you know what? He can't breathe. He can't see. He can't see out of one eye. This one here is bleeding. His lip is bleeding. His nose I broke. His ribs I broke. And he's trying. He can't even move. And so everybody, I just happened to stop for a moment to look at the audience, and they're doing this. It looked like they were doing this slow motion. And I wasn't imagining. I just looked around, and it looked like everybody was doing this to me. I didn't know what to do. So I unstraddled him. I did a victory backflip like this, and they grabbed him. They said, "Go, go." And they're starting to throw things.
Because they want to finish.
They're throwing things. They took me in there, and this time, I put whatever I had in the bag, and I'm waiting because I'm hearing all I don't know what's going on, but I'm hearing all this ruckus, and I'm waiting for it. Somebody comes in there, he's going down. He's going to the hospital. Whoever comes in there, and it seemed like I was in there for an hour, looking at this door, waiting for. And it was only maybe 10 minutes, but it seemed like it was an hour waiting. I was intense. It's almost like I held my breath for 10 minutes, waiting for somebody to come in. And my trap, everything. He opens the door, and I go just like I was just going to strike. And he goes, come. And I start to go, and I grab my bag, pick it up. And it wasn't even, it was like a, what do you call those? You go and buy at the grocery stores. Because it wasn't a bag.
A city.
Yeah. And just grabbed it, and I run. They threw me in. This limousine. We take off. They take me to the airport, and I'm saying my luggage is in that. They went through that, and they had my luggage. They packed it and put it in. Took me right. I'm in the airport. I'm on the plane with a T-shirt with blood on it. And I'm sitting there. I have the money in my pocket. And I'm thinking, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, no shit.
I'm saying, what happened? I don't know. It went that fast. I don't know what happened. I said, this is insane.
Yeah.
So my wife, Sarah, fixed me up at the airport. And she says, you had a nose bleed? Why is blood on you? And I said, I've got the most important thing. In there, he didn't ask me. This is how it went. They asked me when I got there, do you want to do an exhibition set? We'll give you this much money. He said, what do you want? And I said, let me think about it. I went, I saw this fur, all these furs, minks and all that. And I said, what teach these guys a lesson? I went in there and I said, which one is more expensive here? He says, this means beautiful. And I said, can you write a ticket out and I'll put that in the bag? I'll come back and pick it up. I didn't think they were going to do any with. So I told him, he says, so what do you want? They came that night. What do you want? And I said, I just, right off the bat, okay, I want $70,000. I want this. I want I want 10% of it. He says, no 10%. And I said, I want some of the, how many people, and he says, no. But he didn't. And I gave him, I said, I want this furry jacket, his nap. That morning, the next day, I thought I said, oh, the next day they came. Knocked the door, I opened it up with the money, with the mini jacket, and said, we come pick you up. And that's when they picked me up and took me to the Kungfu Center. I had the furry jacket, I had the money. And this is why I thought it was an exhibition. That's what happened.
Wow. Now you had another fight in Hong Kong at some point, didn't you? On the mats, like this was more of a tournament type where you were fighting some Chinese guy and you're just beating the pajamas out of this poor guy. I believe you were on yellow mats, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Now, did these events happen when you were shooting with Jackie, or were you in Hong Kong independent for something else?
This was right before Jackie.
Right before Jackie. So your fight career, you're retired. Just let's jump ahead to your comeback fight in '94 with Tagami, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that. Then we'll go back to your film career, which started with Force 5.
All I know is they were saying,
first of all, before the fight happened, how long were you retired at that fight?
Forgot.
7 years, that's something like that.
More on there.
Yeah.
So not that I retired, I took other things and was doing other things. So, but they say, how about a retirement fight? My brother said. I said, what? I said, how about a retirement fight? I said, brother, I'm not going to retire. And he said, no, but why don't we do a retirement fight? I said, get that through your head. I'm not retiring. He said, well, how about if we say and do a retirement fight?
Promoted that way.
Yeah. And I said, I don't care. He says, no, I'm serious. I said, I don't care. Sure enough, he went out there, this man, and he says, all right, brother, we'll give you this amount of money and we'll give you a little percentage and such and such. And I said, oh, fine, okay. So I said, how long do I have? He says, 6 weeks. Basically, my brother Blinky said, I'd like to promote this. And I said, really? He says, yeah, I want to promote this. I said, fine. And so he started business. He says, came back, he says, we give you $100, we'll give you this, we'll give you hard serves, and made it really nice and sweet. I said, sure. And then he said, okay, we're on. I said, how much? I said, at least give me 6 weeks, and I'll be top pick in 6 weeks. And he said, that's all you need? I said, that's all I need. I said, okay. I said, because I'm not out of shape. It's just 6 weeks to fine tune, shout the guys, that's it. So he said, okay. So we took off. Next week he comes back from and says, we're on, brother. I said, what do you mean we're on? I said, we're on. You're going to be fighting in 6 weeks. And and he says, who do you want to fight? And I said, who's the toughest out there? He said, no. Yeah, we'll get somebody, we'll take them out of the grave, stand them up, pick them, that's it. That's all you need. I said, who is the toughest man out there right now? This one that's, he's giving everybody a hard time. He messed wrong. And he says, why do you want to go here? And I said, win, draw, or lose, people will remember this. And I don't care about the outcome. They will remember this. if you want to call this my retirement fight, nobody will forget about this one. So I started training and started getting some mud. Then some of my other fighters started, because they would be P. Cunningham and the others. They all were going to get on. I said, jump on board. They said, can I be on your car? Can I? So why not? So there was probably my champions underneath me. We all started running 6 in the morning, sparring 12 in the afternoon, medicated at night, crazy meat techniques. 6 weeks. 2 weeks before the fight. And I sparring with Petey. And I said, Petey, and I already told him about this. Petey has thick toenails. The thickest toenails I've ever seen. And when he did it, he cut her in a point. Oh, shit. And he likes a cute kid. Yeah. So we're sparring. I'm sparring some other. They brought other champions for me to come in so I can strike them, because we were paying them. So I can strike these guys with this and that. And so I'm sparring with Petey, and he flip kicks me, cuts me. He cuts me with his toenail. And I went like this. And Petey said, I'm sorry, Sensei. And I said, did you just cut me, Petey? And I went like this. I said, you sure did. And then my brother Ruben at this was pissed off at Petey. I said, no. I said, it was a flip kick. I'm not used to his flip kicking in this and that. But when he flip kicks, he doesn't hit you with the top of foot. He spears you with his toes. And I said, is that how you cut people up? He goes, he's like, yes. I said, okay. So I went and they put Band-Aid on it, put it together. They say, one stitch it. I said, no.
So while you were in preparation for this, did you know you were fighting Tagami?
No.
No, you didn't know. At what point did you find out it was Tagami?
I didn't figure it until we were in the way in. I didn't care who I was fighting. Yeah, I didn't care who I was fighting. All I knew is
So did Tagami know he was fighting you?
yes.
In Japan. So he knew he was fighting you, but you didn't know who you were fighting.
No.
So you were just basically being you. You couldn't really put a strategic game plan to defeat an opponent that you didn't know who you want to fight, obviously.
Yeah. Basically, I was just going to go and fight.
So do you feel they were trying to set you up a little bit there? I mean, if you didn't know who your opponent was and he already knew, in theory, you would give him the edge, right?
That's it.
So were they doing that because you had defeated them in the past?
They were doing that because, again, first of all, I was twice his age. He's 24, I was 43. And as far as I'm concerned, he just became the champion. He's fresh, he's new, he's exciting. As far as I'm concerned, I've been out of the commission doing movies and stunt coordinating and all this. I got away from that for a while because I was busy in the movie industry. And so when I told my brother, who is the best out there? And he said, why do you want to fight? I said, well, you want me to fight? Who's the best out there? And he told me, well, this guy in Japan, he's a young champion. I say, I don't care. I said, fine. Just put the best out there. Don't give me, I want people to remember the fact. And I don't care about the outcome. I want to remember the fact. I said, I don't care how it comes out. I just want people will talk about it.
And you wore your American Indian attire into the ring. Talk to us a little bit about that, because that's very special.
The reason for that is because I was up at Rocky Canada, the residential, and Willie Big Bull, and White Ray Bald and Mitch's the Blackfoot Triad, which is in the Pagan Nation. And Ona she's the one that actually made my outfit. They went and they were looking to do a headdress, and they couldn't find it, a needle. So they went out at the center, and they gave offerings to the other side. They gave offerings to see if they would come and they would say chanting word down from the war songs, put in a circle giving offerings. And they said, one of the warriors said, "What is that up there?" It was far away up in the hillside. So what is that? They said, "They don't know." They said, they said, "Let's go look." And as they started walking toward it, it did not move. And they started going toward it, it still moved. They got closer to it, and then he was on the hillside. And he said, "It's an eagle." They called him Blackfeet. No, what the fuck? And he said, "I wonder, this eagle that we pray for." And the eagle stood there, and they went up, and the eagle did not move. Down. They killed the eagle, took the feathers, they gave offerings to it, and so forth. They made my headdress and made another headdress for the chief. Wow, of this eagle. He said they never seen an eagle with such big wings.
Sacrifice himself.
Sacrifice like my headdress.
That's so awesome.
And that headdress was on display at Team Karate Centers, wasn't it? Over in Woodland Hills, because I remember going over there one time. He said to me, "That's what I wore in my last fight." Yeah. So now, how were you received after you defeated Tagami?
The idea of to give with, we did a circle. Okay? That one, in that circle, we gave offerings, we prayed, we danced, warrior dance, and so forth. And then they set the bonnet on me. And they did warrior dance with this net. After they set the bonnet on, they took the bonnet off me. They said, "He said this net," and they put it into this 150-year-old bag that they had made with the dirt and blood of back then in this. And they showed it would make it. They put my bonnet in it. Then they brought my outfit to the they wanted me at the hotel, and they wanted me to try it on. So I tried it on. It fit. Couldn't get any more perfect than that. Then they waited. So after I started, and then they took me down with my outfit on. And we went down. And as we went down with my outfit, they did not put my bonnet down. They took me in my dressing room. Nobody's ever seen my bonnet, but they seen me in my outfit. But I had towel over it with snap. So we get in there. And so the doctors came in and checked my hands out, stuff like that. Checked, make sure I had cup on. And so everything was set. So then we're this hard. We went out. And I can hear the thunder because I was on the knee.
Yeah.
And everything was happening. I can feel the thunder, the whole thing is shaking. And then that's when it stopped. Everything stopped. And my brother said, "Hey brother, he got stopped. Stop warming up." So I just got up and I said, "I'm gonna be stretched anyway. This, I'm gonna warm it up, move it around, this and this and this." Then he said, "Okay, Willie Big Boom." By me wrong, then they came in, they took my bonnet off, they changed it, they put it on me. They changed me, really not. They were walking on the side. What two stand word, the so vulnerable finally. And so I got my head down and was walking. Totally. Or walk. And my headdress, people able was asked, I was because a speaker box. So we get there. So I do my ritual, I do my prayer, I do my give up order. So I get up and put my headdress back. Then I go, put it on. I'm not too on. Once I walked on, it was loud. every vibration was going through me. It was, actors, everybody had shown up. As a matter of fact, people were actually not even, the scalpers on them will buy this. They did let scalpers through there.
Wow.
And that was so many people, and it was packed full. And then they rented 2 other places to tell about it at these other hotels. Had so many people with. And so I get there and I'm walking around and people are going nuts. So people come in, takes edges, also undo, push it into my bag that I wore into the bag. And they offer full offers, the 4 corners. And by then,
You were probably fired up.
and then I was in a different zone.
Yeah.
Everything turned off. And I could hear, I can bet they're gonna whisper. That's all I'm tuning this. People were screaming, yelling, crying, and it just that was, when I wait, when I did, Wallace kept on putting that in my head. Watch this. When he used me to roll the head right, and I did better. When I got up, I said, we're gonna fight that. And we got a fight. I got up and he came after me. But then after he came out, I had a smile. I looked back, shooting me up. It's tight piece. He bite through his eyes, up his cheek, back up. And they sent the devil. I thought, sit down. And my brother said, you okay? And I said, the other day I never looked with brother. And he goes, nothing for me to say. Same word says, what did we tell you? Yeah, we can't tell you anything. He says, you already know. I said, just give me one. And then my corner man and my second start yelling and screaming at each other when I'm sitting down. And I said, could I have some water? They're screaming at each other, who is going to be in the inside, who's going to be in the outside?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him, I said, can I just have some water? Finally, they realized what they were doing.
You were just in another planet, man. You were
Yeah, I just said, can I have some water? That's it. Gave me some water. The bell rang. They went up. And I can still hear these two
going at it.
And the bell rang, I went after him. And he came after me. He came after me like there was no tomorrow. For the first 3 rounds, he came after me. After that, I would hear his heartbeat. I said, I could hear every breath, every part of his heart. I can feel his rhythm. In other words, I can feel his spots. His frequencies of his thinking. I said,
You were locked in.
this guy is not going to give up. I don't have to kill him. He's not going to give up because he's not fighting for him. He's fighting for his country. That's what I got. He's fighting for his country, not for him. And then after that, I started going. For fun, I started picking it up. I said, now I'm going to start picking it up. Started moving more than. And the worst part of the audio was, I don't want to sing this on the cast, I can't do, but it was what it was. And I went after him, and by next time, every time I hit him, I had a shock all the way up to my brain. And I hit it with the right cross. I stunned him, and I went to him. I went to hit him with a left hook. Every time, and so then we hit him the right crosses. And every time I just jabbed it with a new fetch, I felt right to my brain. Felt this shock already prepared for the time. So then I started kicking back. I started going at it. I said, it's a matter of time. It's coming down.
Just shot him down the country.
It's a matter of time. As you wrote down. But I can see him in the corner, see him trying to get up. I just said it's not attractive. He did not want to go down. This man had so much heart and fighting for helping his country. He did not want to go. He did not want to get down. He wanted to leave.
Would you say he's your toughest opponent?
He had the toughest heart. He had the toughest heart. And he lasted longer than anybody. So tougher, I fought tougher, but I've never fought anybody with such heart. He was the one had the most heart and the desire not to go down and not to stop.
Well, just to go back a little bit with the Indian head priest and everything, because part of your ancestry is American Indian, correct? Like, let's talk about that a little bit.
You know, when I had forgotten my name, my Indian name on the reservation. I forgot of what they had given. And so I forget, I couldn't remember. And so when I got together with Eagle, she
So just so for the audience, Eagle wasn't
is my
Miss
wife.
Sarah, his beautiful wife.
My wife's name's Sarah too.
Because there you go. And so she's she's bloodline from Geronimo. Her grandmother's mother's mother. And that's the line that she took. And so, as far as I concerned, I thought she was strange. I thought she was a strange. I met her at 14. I thought she was a strange girl anyhow. I said, "That what voices come out of your head? That where you have voices?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you're a strange girl. Like, hey, you're weird." But I got to realize when we got there, it took me 1 year. I must have been divorced 3 times. I'm out of here. Forget you. I'm going. Come back. I'm sorry. I have been near the flower. But I couldn't understand her because she was so deep. She was so deep. I couldn't understand. Where you coming from, man? What you talking like that for? What, So that's why, in my mind, I divorced her. And I'm gone. But I realized I love her. So I think that I've had many girlfriends, but I never have done that. I think, when I met Sarah, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what.
So let's tell us the famous Ed Parker story when you first introduced your wife to Ed Parker. It's an interesting, funny story.
She wasn't my wife then.
Oh, your girlfriend at the
My
time.
girlfriend.
Right?
This was like it's 5 at the Nationals.
So you're at the Long Beach Internationals, and
At the
you take your
But
girlfriend.
she's watching me fighting this and that. So she came to me. She said she was just so excited this and that. And I said, Mr. Parker, and he goes, there's it. This is my girlfriend, Sarah. And it's Sarah looked at him. She didn't know who it was. It says, nice to meet you. And Mr. Parker looked at her and stared at her. She stared at her and smiled. We said, enjoy. Turns me around, puts his arms around, walks 5 feet away from me. And he says, this one's a keeper. And I looked at Mr. Parker. I said, I'm not sure what he's saying. So I left it at that because I didn't want to ask, what do you mean? Yeah. I just left it at that. And then an hour and a half, 2 hours go by. And it kept it in my head. She's a keeper. And I thought he was giving me some deep philosophy of something. And so I went up to Mr. Parker and said, Mr. Parker, you got a moment I'd like to ask you something. He goes, and he looked keeper up there, and I said, Mr. Parker, you said she's a keeper, my girlfriend. What do you mean by that? And he looked at me and he says, keep her. And I said, keep her. Yes, she is for you. Keep her. Don't let her go. Keep her. And I go, I felt so embarrassed. I said, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I thought you gave me a certain code of something.
Yeah.
Some type of insight. I didn't know what that meant. The way you said it,
Yeah.
it didn't dawn on me. Meant this was, this was her. Yeah, this was a good one. Hang on to, because he knows it. I had a lot of girlfriends.
How right he was on that one, 60 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's go back a little bit in time. Sure. Your first movie, Force 5, correct? Talk to us a little bit about that, because it's got a whole host of being martial artists.
I did a movie before that. It was called Down the Drain,
Okay.
and I played a drunken hobo. And it was about these bank robbers, and I'm at the park drinking. I'm all wasted, and these bank robbers just robbed the bank, and the cops are chasing them, and they come out, they come out, and they get this, and they put the bag underneath the bench while I was laying down, and he takes $100, he tears it in half, he gives me, he says, I'll give you the other half. Take care of my bag. And they're running off. So here I am, I'm playing, I'm drunk. And next thing I know it, I got half, but I want the other half, and I don't know where they're at. So I don't know what's in there. So I take the luggage, and there's these police officers eating their lunch. So I go over there and I knock on the window, and they roll down their windows down, and I said, this guy gave me this, told me to hold on to it, and I don't know where he's at, and he goes, go, because he thought I was just a drunken hobo.
Yeah.
And he rolls his window back up, and they're eating the lunch. So I had this, and I'm thinking, I never opened it up. I just want the other half of that $100. So I go back to the bench, and I sit there, and they didn't come. So I grab the pen, and I'm walking. These guys skid around the corner, and they, I'm walking with this. They skid around the corner, and they told these other guys, grab that, grab the suitcase. That's the money's in. So these guys wanted to grab and I'm thinking, I want the other half of that, and I'm beating the crap out of these guys, and there's a fight scene going on, because I'm thinking, you're not thinking it's suitcase, because I want the other half. So that was the movie. I played a drunken hobo in that, and it's called Down the Drain.
That's awesome.
But that was the first time, and then I did some other.
You did Force 5, who had got a whole host of martial arts in there. Sonny Barnes.
There was
The whole team of you guys.
Richard Lord, all of us.
Richard Lord, everybody.
There was.
How was that?
To tell you the truth, when it came to in front, I already knew how to be in front of a camera. Just doing exhibitions, I knew how to capture the audience emotions. I knew what to do. So he had asked me, what kind of thing? Because they didn't know me. They said, can you do this? Can you do that? I said, sure. They said, why don't you create something, this, and this, and this? So I started working for some of the guys and started showing them some things and this, and that. But they said, what are you going to do? I said, what would you like to see happen? He says, well, we're going to do this, and you're going to be fighting these guys and so forth. And I said, okay, where? So we went to a Varus and he says, well, we like to see the fight here. And I'm looking at the stairways. I'm looking at this. And I'm just looking at things, looking around. What can I use? And I'm just, finally I said, okay, I know what I want to do. And he says, what would you do? And I said, well, they're going to chase me. I'm going to run up these steps. He's going to try to grab my ankles. I'm going to do a backflip over him. And I'm like 6 feet in the air and hit the ground. This guy's going to grab me. I'm going to sidekick him. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab him, go here, la, 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 this is that. He's going to shoot the gun. I'm going to do this. And I choreographed it right there. And
We're all scarred right there.
Yeah. And he said, okay, we're going to put the camera here. And they thought I already knew about the way I was talking to them. They thought I already knew about camera angles and so forth. And I was just making up as I go. And I said, "Where is the camera?" And he says, "Well, this is number A." And they start teaching me about cameras. And camera A is here. This is going to be natural speed. Okay, this will be 24. And then we're going to speed it up. We're going to go to 200 on this one. And then at that one, I said, so what is 200 to, what is that? And he says, come here. Took him to Monica and he says, this is that speed on that. And then we were moving the front and up seeing how slow. So I said, okay. And then I said, can I see that? So I started learning. Camera angles, speeds, and stuff like that. And then the lighting, they started showing me, and he says, we're going to make you, so we're going to put the lighting down here, we're going to make you real scary and this and that. I said, how's that going to make me more scary than I am? And he said, with the lighting, it's going to make your eyes sink into the people to do. They were doing all, and they would teach me, they didn't even know it.
Okay, Sensei, next up after Force 5 was Wheels on Meals. So take us through that. How did it come about? Take us through your experience, your first time meeting Jackie, Samo, Yunbyu. As we know, they're the three brothers who come from the Seven Little Fortunes, from the Peking Opera. And we know Samo is the big brother, and everybody listens to Samo. So take us through the whole thing.
I think Sammo Hung is more the director, and you had Jackie Moore before the actor, so forth.
Yunbyu was more the glicker.
Yeah, and he's the more gymnast.
Yes.
This is one of the more acrobatic gymnasts of all of them.
So when you first met Jackie, and first of all, how did it come about? Are you in LA and someone calls you and goes, Jackie Chan wants you to do a movie? How did that all unfold?
Japan.
You were in Japan.
They did follow me. Everybody's been talking about me, and then word got around like everybody had cell phones back then, but nobody had any.
Yeah.
You just knew everybody started talking.
The chatter.
And that's it. And it got to his ears, and they saw some of my fights, and he wanted to change the way people fight on film. So they said he wasn't sure what I could do, because he didn't see the movies, but he knew I was a real deal. So somebody called, I'm not sure who it was, and he says, do you know Jackie Chan? I said, who? Jackie Chan. I said, no idea. And they said, well, he wants you to go to Hong Kong, and he wants to meet you, this and that. And I said, for? He says, well, a matter of fact, he's doing a movie, and he just wants to see, he wants to talk to you and see. And he says, not promising anything. I said, okay, so I'm going all the way to Hong Kong.
From Japan.
And not knowing. And he said, that's up to you. And I said, yeah, I'll go. So I get there, they put me on nice, on the morning suit, nice, cool. And then it hit me to this big warehouse where he's at, so forth. And so I go, I'm looking around, seeing just huge warehouse of crash pads and all this and ropes, and I'm looking like, I said, okay, this is a circus or Olay or what? I said, what are we doing in here? So then I see all these guys over there, huddling up. So I figured. So I kind of leave, and the interpreter says, I think Jackie, that's his team. And I said, team of what?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I think that's his, or the active team of actors. And I said, so what am I getting here? And he said, Jackie. I said, so where's Jackie? So I started getting a bit loud, like, what the heck am I doing here? What's going on? Who's Jackie? Where's Jackie?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, I see people who bought the Jackie books. I'm a big couples. And he has a big smile and that. He comes up to me and he goes, and I said, how are you? Are you Jackie? And he goes, and so he's trying to tell me in English, yes, I'm Jackie. And so his interpreter says something to him, and Jackie told him, and then he told me, Jackie wants to know, have you done movie before? And I said, and I'm looking at Jackie. I don't know if you want to call it movies, but yeah, I've done some little bit of here and there. And so the interpreter told him. And he looks at me and he smiles. He shakes his head. And I said, so what am I doing here? Yeah. And that's what I'm telling Jackie. And Jackie turned the face, I told him. And he said, Jackie wants to see what you can do. I said, I'm a fighter. Tell him. And he said, Jack already knows that. So that's why you're here. I said, he wants to fight me? And he said, no, he wants you to do the move. I said, so what are we doing? Do we have a script? He says, no script right now. I said, he wants to do a movie without a script? And he goes, pretty much. And I said, so ask him, what does he want right now at this, what do you want? And he says, he wants to see you kick the bag. I said, kick a bag? When he said, yeah. And then he had a power show, but it's a strange power show anyways. And so he calls one of his stuff. They're all standing there, and so one of his guys are just, stand guys are holding the bag. And he says, kick it. So I said, okay. So I just spin back here. Boom, hit this guy. He goes flying back, hits the ground, and he's down. So they all the other stunt guys go right over there. His nose is bleeding, his teeth, because when I hit it, he went like this, and it just smashed his face. So, and they're looking at him, and Jackie looks at him and goes, he puts his thumbs up, and I thought,
that's it?
What the heck is this? And he goes, okay. So then Jack goes in there, and there's a hallway, maybe 3.5 to 4 feet wide. And it's pretty long, maybe 30 feet long. And I'm looking, and so Jackie goes. So I go, and I'm behind him, and he does round up, flip, flop, all the way down. And he gets to the end, and he stops, and then he goes. And I said, what does he want me to do? He says, can you do that? I said, I'm not a gymnast, and I can try. So I did round up, flip flop, then I'm crashing into the wall. And then I just got up to say, I'm not a gymnast, I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
And Jackie looks at me and goes, I said, what's with this guy, man?
He's checking your character.
Yeah, he's going thumbs up. Then he says, he goes out there and he says, to his interpreter says, Jackie's going to do a little something. And he wants you to watch him. I said, so Jackie does spins and this and that. He does whoosh movement, this and that. And I look at him, I go. So I asked for what I said, can you have one of his stunt guys get in front of me? So all of a sudden, the guy, I said, like this, and he goes like this, and I said, just tell him to stay there, don't move. Tell him not to move at all. And this guy just looked at me, and I did a jump. I jumped up, did a jump spinning wheel kick over his head, landed, did a drop dragon sweep. He went down, I came up, stopped him with my toes on his chest, but I didn't use my heel, and I stopped him with my toes, and I stopped him with my toes. When I did this, I jumped, I kicked up. As I kicked up, I went like this to him, and I just stopped. And Jackie looked at me, and his eyes were like this. I was like,
You're getting a lot of thumbs up. It's all
It's all looking great right now.
I got thumbs up and eyes up.
Yeah.
Because now he's realizing I didn't hurt her.
Yeah.
He wanted to see if I had,
the control, because you're
Yeah.
going to be doing this with him.
yeah.
Yes.
So he wanted to see, and he wanted to see what I could do. So he saw me jump maybe a foot over this guy's head, put him down. I hit, and he said to him, "Did that hurt?" And he said, "No." It was a little shocking because I didn't know what he was doing. But I hit him with my foes and just on the stomach, hit his on the stomach, and kicked up and put this across his chest to his neck. And I went like this and brought it back up. So he knew I could go right to his throat.
Yeah.
Drop. I went like this and brought it back up. And I got up when Jackie looked at us. So he got two of his guys, and they choreographed something with two of his guys. And he goes. So I said, "Oh, you wanna?" So I got him up, and I looked at him, and he goes. So I said, I point him, and he point the taller guy and the smaller one. I said, you, and then I came here, and I gave him a magazine, roll it up, give it to him, and got here, and all of a sudden I choreographed
Yeah.
a little fight scene. And after that, Jackie said
That's
he didn't want to see no more.
that was it.
So what he was,
Passed the audition.
but what he was doing, sorry, go ahead.
Or then he said to me, he said, "Okay, now he's going to write the script."
Ah, so he was going to write it around your character.
Yeah.
And that's when you ended up. So you're done in Hong Kong. You fly back to LA. How long after that do you end up in Barcelona?
Probably 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Now, there's a very interesting fight scene where you fight at the bulldozer. Did you have, of course, the last fight scene with Jackie on Sensei Benny is one of the best ever.
Best ever. Literally amazing.
It is fabulous. Did you have anything to do with the choreography, or was it more Samo and his guys came in, did the choreography, and then you just mimicked their moves?
I did all those. I choreographed.
You did all yours. So was that they just said, so Ben, you do this?
Is what they did. They got their team together. They huddled this and that for the fight, and then they came up with this and this. They looked at me and they said, "In other words,
So it was like a back and
what are
forth.
you gonna do?"
That's awesome.
So I said, after I looked at it, I said, "I'm gonna do this." And I went boom, 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 because I wanted to look good.
It's
So I-
also a good way. Sometimes the other person will come up with stuff. You go, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that was
and
good.
you can make things. Yeah, it's a good way of meshing things, and it's probably a faster way to do choreography.
It probably is fast.
It is faster.
Back
for
and
sure.
forth. But who came up with the comedic timing? Because there's comedic elements to his fights. And that's I think what made him stand out. You know, Bruce Lee was all in it with emotion, where Jackie hit you and go, you know what I mean? And that like really brought
No,
attention.
because he did that. So when he did it, we did a second take of it. I went like that.
Yeah. And you were like, I love that.
When you have him backing up against the table, you do the spin and hook kick, and you put out the candles.
That was
Did you actually put out the
The
candles?
first time I did it, I put the candle up.
So the take at the movie's the first take.
Yeah, and then the second one, I pulled the hamstring, trying to do it again. I tried to do it again because they wanted to do it so more. They tried to do it again, and I mean, I really went at it, but I missed it.
So when you were doing that fight scene, who was responsible? And of course, everybody who had an input, yourself included. But who really was responsible? Was it Samo and his team were going, we'll shoot this angle, that angle? So who was really responsible for all the angles? You and Jackie. And was Samo there when you guys shot your fight scene?
That's so awesome.
But we,
And did you have a to and fro with Samo where he said, maybe try this, Benny, then try that? No, he was just there.
he was there shooting.
How many?
Not even once he came here and said, "What about this? What about that?"
So he was
And that
actually
shows so much respect. I mean, the respect there is
Because he didn't know me, but he didn't know what I can do.
right.
And when I started doing things, remember, we were doing something that nobody's ever done.
Yeah.
We were doing hitting for real, and we were actually doing contact to the point where Samoa never seen any of that. And he didn't know me.
Yeah.
He didn't know what I could do. And when I was choreographing my own, he just shut up.
And that's what I was going to ask too, because you could tell you guys are making contact.
Yeah.
I mean, you could 100% see it. Were either of you padded up at all? Like, did you have to pad up to take falls or
No, because I was wearing something that you can see if you had a pad on. You
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
it.
you'd see through it. Yeah.
How many days did you shoot the last fight scene in? How many was it? A couple of weeks just that?
It was
a couple of
a week. We shot it. I mean, we actually stood on this on. You know how these go back? We had these little beach chairs. They went back. We just put some covers over us. Got up in the morning.
So when you shot that, it was all shot on location, no set. So what did it take to shoot? A couple of weeks? Because they spend a lot of time shooting because they do a lot of coverage.
Well, that's because we had
And it's complex.
different. First of all, different speeds, different lengths. Okay. Depending on the sun was out, the sun was not out. I mean, we worked around it to make it so when they edit it, it looks so it all looks. They can edit it.
Yeah, it looks the
without
same.
where it looks like. How do you get there with that kind of from here he was lit up, now he's dark, or so we have to make it blend.
So let's jump forward to 87.
Yeah.
You end up duking it out with Jackie again in what's one of the best movies ever to come out of Hong Kong. And it was being made in 87 for the release of Chinese New Year in 88, because Jackie's goal was always to release a movie Chinese New Year.
That's right.
And so how do you get the call for that? Are you Jackie again?
But Jackie, his guy called me. Jackie was right there, and called. They said, "Jackie's here, but he wants me," because you know what, Jackie was constant. Anytime he had a chance, he would sit next to me. I was really uncomfortable because he's sitting right next to me, and he wanted to, and I would be like this, I said, "Man, what's wrong with this guy?" But he wanted to practice his English.
Also, he's listening to everything.
Listening to what I was saying, he was practicing. So he actually, he was learning English in the first one. The second one, he was better.
Yeah.
He was much better in the second one. So he never sat next to me on the second one.
Right.
But we were facing each other talking. And so.
So talk to us a little bit in Dragons Forever. Why did it darken your eyes?
Because again, they realized, I don't know if it was my mistake, but because of the lighting, made my eyes look darker because they looked like they sunk in. It looked like I didn't have eyes.
Made you look more evil.
Made me look
Scary, yeah, it's scary. Yes.
They made me look like, man, this guy, does he have eyes or he doesn't have eyes, or, there were.
Let's sit out.
Yeah.
It stood out. It adds an element to
Pretty
your
up because of it.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
was that again shot on location, or was that the set that was built? That
was
was
on
shot
location.
in a factory somewhere in Hong Kong.
Go. Some on location, it's someone said.
So you're filming with Jackie. What's the comparison between Wheels and Deals and Dragons Forever? Because obviously now he doesn't need to test your abilities anymore. It's more straightforward, I'm assuming. So how long did it take you guys to shoot that? Because in many ways, that fight scene, overall, I wouldn't say it's a better fight scene, but it's right. They're really
They're
good.
both really good, man.
So
The reason for that is because we already knew each other. He knew I had impeccable control. He knew that I could take the impact. And he knew that I took nothing personal.
now, when he kicks you at the end of the chest, that's not him. That's Chin Ka Lock.
Yeah.
At least in the film, the
Yes.
cut that used, the tape that used. Why was that? Was Jackie injured or what happened? From the fight scene. So they just cut in Chin Ka Lock.
How was he hurt? What happened?
Basically, it was, by then we were going full blast. Why? Because we knew we could.
Yeah, yeah.
And, slipping, moving, this and that. Sometimes you don't warm up enough. It's school.
Yeah.
Or you overextend. And sometimes you could, and we're moving quickly. They had to slow down the camera because we were moving too fast.
Yeah.
They kept on saying, slow it down. And I said, this is normal speed. We're moving. He says, slow it down. The camera can't catch what you're doing. So the only way they can catch it is to go high speed and then slow you down because we can't see what you're doing.
How was it working with Yunhua?
Oh, that was fun.
I was just with him in Hong Kong.
That
Yes,
was-
yes.
that was
He can move. You know, the interesting thing, I asked him to do a kip up.
He can still do a
He
kick.
got down.
without his
He got down.
with the leg.
Yeah, he got down like a man of his age today, and he just went, and he came up like a 20-year-old.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
And this was just recently when you were over there.
8 months ago,
Yeah.
6 months, whatever. When I was there, yeah. And he talked very highly about you. He thought he's in Vancouver as we speak. Yeah.
So when did you get the call to do the Roadhouse stuff? Because at that time you had already done some amazing fight scenes. Did the production sought after you? They come after you, or how did that come about?
First of all, it was Chuck Norris's he passed away. I can't remember my dad too. Remember good martial arts, but he was Chuck Norris's
Howard Jackson.
no, not Howard Jackson, the other one. He's gonna let every set and he passed away. Which I did the movie I did with him, and I can't believe I can't remember his name. And but he passed away. But he
Pat Johnson.
Pat Johnson.
Pat Johnson.
From, of course,
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, Enter the Dragon,
Very
Karate
nice.
Kid. I mean, Pat Johnson had done it all.
So he's the one that already knew. He already knew because when I did exhibitions, it was said, that looks so real.
Because he was a ref.
Right.
Yeah.
I said, man, that looks so real. And I said, I'm good with live audience. If I can't do it with a live audience, they wouldn't believe me on camera. Yeah. But I had people with live audience. I had them hooing, hopping on their seats. I had one. She said, "I can't believe you made me pee in my pants." And I said, "I can't believe you just said that." She said to me, "Made me pee in my pants." And I just said, if I'm going to be equal, I have to capture people's emotions. I have to make you believe it is possible.
Right.
And he said, and that's what I do.
So I got to bridge that gap then so he's the one that put you. Now, when you first met Patrick Swayze, obviously it's Patrick Swayze. He's an esque of his own, but he's an athlete too, But he had a hurt knee, correct?
Yes.
At that time. So how was it working with him?
I mean, basically, when it came down to it, I asked him, "Do you have a dildo?" And he said, "You." I said, "I've never done."
Oh, he wanted you to double it.
And I said, "Do you want?" And he says, "But I want to do this myself." I said, "So why do you need a double?" He said, "In case something should happen." I said, "Okay." I said, "That's all fair." And so I said, "I need training with you. I need to understand you." Okay? And so he said, "What does that mean?" I said, "I need to understand you. I need to see just the way you move. I need to see it." And he goes, "Okay, we'll train at my house, in my ranch." And I go over there and I just watch him the way he walks, how he talks, how he eats, how he picks up things, how he moves. I just watch him. And I says, "Okay." So he says, "So, in your choreograph, this is the character I'm playing." And he told me, "This is how I'm going to play my character." I said, "Okay." Now that I know how you've been playing the character, you know what I see from you? And he said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You move like a panther." And he said, "What does that mean?" I said, "You move like a panther, a black panther." He said, "What does that mean?" I said, "The way you walk, the motion of it, you remind me of a black panther. You remind me of and that's how I'm going to choreograph you. And he said, what? And I said, I'm trusting in you can do what I'm going to show you, but trust in me that I know, hey, I'm going to move you like a black panther.
That's phenomenal.
And so in that, all the moves I did, I made it caddy.
Yeah, because he's a dancer. He's smooth. It's great. How about working with Marshall Teague? And how did those two?
Marshall Teague, he was funny, but he was serious.
Yeah.
Strict Shotokan, Japanese. I'm talking about hard style. I mean,
His character stands out. He plays that character very well.
they couldn't pick that a better person.
No, he's awesome.
Okay? And so when I worked with him, I already knew he was a black belt, so I didn't want to give him. You know, I said, I'm not going to change you. You look like you're going to have bear moves. He said, what? I said, you remind me of a bear. And he said, what? I said, you remind me of bear medicine. Bear moves. A bear strikes you, his claws will go right through you like an accordion, man, strip you up. Yeah. And I said, all my moves I choreograph for you is going to be like a bear.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I like that. And I said, good. Because every time when you hit, you're going to tear somebody apart. But he says, and he started getting hyped, and he says, okay. By then, I won him over right off the bat.
That's awesome.
Because I already knew, man, he was already strong. He was game for anything.
And they truly were making contact, correct?
Oh,
can you walk us through some of that?
You know what? See, with T, Marshall T didn't care.
Yeah.
He was okay with all the contact, this and that. But I was saying, Patrick, he was all game for it. But I was telling him, Marshall, if you hurt him, okay, some of it, that pay is going to come out of you. Yeah. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I was kidding.
Yeah.
But
it hurts the production.
Because somebody's going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I said, every time he is not on front of that camera, it's going to cost the production, which could have been your bonus.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about me.
Yeah.
But anyway, he said, I said, T, I don't want to change you. I just want to do, when I choreograph, I'm going to do bear moves on you, okay? And he said, I said, because that's what you remind me of. Powerful. When you strike with such powerful, and you're going to not hit surface, you're going to hit through people. And he goes,
who came up with the pulling of the larynx out of that? Because you came up with that.
Yeah. I mean, because he was telling me,
yeah, I want
to do something. So I showed him a different move.
Yeah.
So I showed him this, but he said, how about if I rip? Did you ever see the move when you put the fingers in somebody's throat?
Yeah.
Lock them?
Yeah.
I did this to him. He goes, man, that's real.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. But he says, how about if I do that and turn it and take his throat out? And I said, you cannot put your hands inside, turn it and pull out. I said, but what you can do, look like you're doing the Cobra and turn the finger sideways and pull it out this way. I said, that you can do. And you can go into it, grab the larynx, and pull it.
Because that is one of the most iconic scenes. I mean, people talk about that to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's phenomenal. How did Gladiator come about? Because these are two of my favorite movies, to be honest. Two of some of my favorite movies. I got a lot of favorites, but Gladiator, that is a hidden gem.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it is. But they'd asked me, because they already seen the films of what I'd done. They asked me, because he was like, I took 42 pounds off him.
Off of James Marshall?
No, off of
the main character. The older gentleman.
Yes. I was thinking his age.
The guy that played Horn. I'm having a brain fart. He was in Rainbow.
Brian Denny.
Brian Denny. Yep. Brian Denny.
42 pounds off him.
That's great.
He's still big.
Trained with everybody. I had everybody trained 3 times. Trained everybody, this and that. But then I trained him personally as well.
Yeah.
But you know what? he says, I'm training with everybody. And I said, you train and you put as much as you can, you back away when you can't, you come right back into it, back away. But he, you know what? Even the running, he wanted to run with everybody. Even if he ran and walked, he wanted to train with everybody.
He's a professional.
And yeah, I tell you what, took 42 pounds off him.
That's freaking awesome. So out of the three, the three that stood out to me in that movie, obviously James Marshall being the main character, but you have Cuba Gooding Jr. is just an athlete, man. And then John Cena, we were talking about him previously. Taking through some of the stuff that you worked with them guys on. Did you have them spar? Were they,
You know what? The main thing is, first of all, always a foundation. Always a foundation, that's all. Build the foundation, I build on it. By the script, by the story, by the actor. That's how I created it right there. Then instead of saying, okay, on this script, it says this is what did it say? It was telling me a story, but it did tap. He punched here, he went to the door, he sat down, he come up, he grabbed the knife. We created it as we went.
Gotcha.
But the main thing is I want to see what they can do. That's why I train them all together. When I work on a movie, I get everybody together. I train everybody together, and that way everybody gets the feel of everybody.
Yeah, synergy creates a lot of synergy.
And so that way I can see on each individual how I'm going to train them and take them apart as they're careful. That's what they.
So in 1990,
Oh yeah, I'm good. Keep going.
in 1994, you worked on Van Damme Street Fighter.
That's right.
So talk to us. How did that job come about? Of course, you work with Amy and Chapa, Byron Mann, and you trained them and so on and so and Kylie Minogue and everybody there. So it was almost like a training camp, right? In Thailand.
They already knew.
How did it come about? And how was your experience with Jean-Claude?
Matter of fact, they're the ones that they said everybody asked for me.
That's awesome.
September they asked for me, and so the director called me and said, I saw some of your stuff and this and that. I'd like to meet with you. I said, absolutely. So we met here, we talked. And after we talked, he says, we'll send you. He said, we'll send you air flight, a plane with this and this. I said, well, are we going to go to East? How much I'm going to ask for? How much this and that? He says, I'll see you up there. We'll talk about it up there. So they already knew they want.
That sucks.
As in the times I brought it up with Jean-Claude, he has fond memories of you guys taking photographs out in the fields and
We had a blast, all of us. Him and I, we had a blast. But sometimes I had to keep my eyes up.
yeah. Now, then you've worked on many movies. We don't unfortunately have time to talk about it now. But just to kind of circle back a little bit, Jackie was well aware of you in Hong Kong. I don't know the exact date, but probably from the late 70s, early, maybe even earlier. And he brought you in for Meals on Wheels in what, 83?
It was
81 or 82?
It was
Yeah, and then you did Dragons Forever. And you went on and worked on many productions, but then about 12, 14, I can't remember the year exactly, circle back around, you worked with Jackie and John Cusack again on another project. How was that and how did that come about? The name of it escapes me right now. What was the name of it?
You worked on Gross Point Blank too, right? You did Grossy Point Blank. Did you do that or no? The Gross Point Blank with John Cusack. I did that as well.
Yeah. But we can go on, but
Yeah, that was really good.
the one we did, it was Jackie was a soldier and John Cusack was a Roman. So,
Yes.
And so they asked me to come in because they knew that I worked with both of them.
Yeah.
And that they were creative with both of them.
Dragon Blade.
Yeah.
Dragon Blade.
So that's what that was about. They both wanted me to come.
So let's circle back a little bit now to 1980. You're a legend. You're already winning, beating everybody, winning every trophy and belt and so on there is to accolade that you can accomplish and win and all that. and you open up what became a very famous location for anybody around the world called the Jet Center. Talk to us a little bit about that. What was the growth? How did that come about?
We were in Japan, Blinky and I. And,
So just for the audience, Blinky, we're referring to Blinky Rodriguez, that is
Is my-
Sensei Benny's brother-in-law.
that's right,
Technically brother.
pretty much.
Pretty much,
He was in the family since he's been.
Correct. Yeah.
So
So
he's my brother.
so you're in Japan.
I'm in Japan, and we're talking, having a good time at this and that. And he says, "Yeah, we need to do something different." And Blicky was saying, "What do you mean?" I said, "We need to do something different. Everybody's doing the same old, same old, same old, same old." And that's when he goes, "Okay." Then he got called, and he went to go do something. And I went, and I'm thinking, I need some paper. And I just happened to have a pencil, but I said, "Listen, paper," and I couldn't find it. So I went in the bathroom and I got toilet paper. I got toilet paper and I guess a tinted book. And I was thinking, if I opened up a dojo, what would it be like? What would I like? So I got toilet paper and I started drawing the Jet Center on toilet paper. And I kept on drawing things as I wanted to, things out. And by mind, this is what I would like to see happen today. Then I got the toga, wrapped it up, put it in my pocket. Blinky came and he says, I said, "Blink, check this out. This is going to be the next dojo." And he said, "With me?" I said, I'm going to open up the next dojo like this." Took out the toilet paper. And I said, "This is what it's going to be like." And then I opened it up. I said, "The inside, this is what I want. I want a restaurant in it. And I said, this is going to be our where we have all our equipment. And then we moved in. This is going to be where everybody's going to watch. In other words, they can't come in through the control booth here. And then we're going to have an upstairs, because in the control booth, this is the down floor. This is what I moved to toilet paper, and then upstairs we're going to have your office, the counter. And then we're going to have a doctor up here. We're going to have sports medicine upstairs on the balcony. And then I moved forward. I said, on the floor, I'm going to have the floor. But the floor is going to have give. We're going to have give on it. So that way when we jump open, nobody's going to have shin splints and bad knees and bad ankles. We're going to have the floor give. He said, "How are we going to do that?" I said, "I don't know." And then I said, we're going to have this. We're going to have. And I said, "We're going to have all the bags here, the mirrors here. We're going to have 2 wraiths here. And one is going to have wheels so we can roll it to the center. We're going to have ice there." And this and that. He goes. And then I said, "And then we're going to have a weight room. We're going to have the most awesome weight room in there for strength work. And so for the building, sculpturing the body. And then upstairs on that, we're going to have the dormitory." And he said, "What?" I said, "We're going to have a dormitory. Underneath there, on top, we're going to have a dormitory." And he said, "How are you going to get up there?" I said, "We're going to have a ladder that comes down, and you're going to climb up there into the dorm. We're going to have bunk. We're going to have about maybe 20 people sleeping in there, and you can, with a rope, you can take it so nobody can go up in the dorm room and this and that." He said, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "I'm serious, brother." And he goes, He said, "How much you gonna think? What's gonna cost?" I said, "We'll build it ourselves." He said, I do all the woodwork and this and that. My brother, he does all the concrete work. You're a plasterer. Yeah, you can plaster this and that. You can do all the jacuzzi and all this." And he goes, "How much money?" I said, "I don't know." So he brought in the guy and said, so we actually had somebody do this instead of toilet paper, on paper.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he did it, he put it on paper, and he says, "Is this what you have on this toilet paper?" I said, "It has everything on it, but I said, well put.
Yeah.
And so the reason why they put this underneath and then on top, this and that. But I said, yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking. And that's how it all became. And then we found a guy that said, I'll invest in it.
That's awesome.
I'll invest in it. And then he says,
And lo and behold, the Jet Center was born.
And you know, it reminds me of when you were explaining it. You've heard of American Top Team. I'm sure they're basically a team that has a lot of UFC fighters, a lot of pro UFC fighters. They have like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different locations. Dustin Poirier used to go to the one down in Florida. It's exactly like that, but for pro MMA fighters. They have several different rooms, cages, floors to work jiu-jitsu and everything else, wrestling. They have dormitories, they have feeder rooms, they have business rooms, they have saunas, they have sports medicine. Everything you were just explaining, they have now. And it's pro fight camp, essentially. So you started that before that was a
I
thing.
didn't understand. In full contact karate in 73, the word kickboxing was born in 75, 76. Okay? The Jet Center was open to build the sport of kickboxing around the world. And then in 90, the Gracies came in 90s. And then in 93, in 94, the Jet Center was closed out in the earthquake.
But to back up a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you had everybody there.
Yeah.
I mean, you had you had actors and, you know, some of my friends, some we know. I mean, you had Pete Cunningham, you had Rick Rolfes. I mean, you had everybody coming through. In fact, your first encounter with Jean-Claude Van Damme
That's right.
was even before No Retreat, No Surrender. Way back in the early 80s, he used to come down there and hit the bag and stuff.
That's
and
awesome.
then, actually, the Jet Centers in No Retreat, No Surrender, they used the Jet Center for some of those scenes.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Which
Like the fight scene where
he goes and fights Pete?
where he goes and fights Petey Cunningham. That's in the Jet Center.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I did not know that.
That
is so
yeah. And rocking ahead a little bit, but I don't know if we're rocking ahead, but you created your own system called Ukidokan.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that. What the birth of that? When did that happen? And what was the inspiration behind it?
I have black belts,
First of all, for the viewers, what does Ukidokan mean? There's a very special meaning to it.
Ukidokan means a way of life. You, my last name. Ki, it's a way of life. Do is a place. Kan, So I mean, if you really look at it, I took Ukidokan and took for what it was stood in Japanese and put it together, and where the moment I said Ukidokan in Japan, everybody knew exactly what I was saying.
So Ukidokan is a blend of, take us through what the curriculum, what it's made up, what you put together.
Ukidokan, first of all, is made, when I say a way of life, because first, in the street, there is no rules. You learn day by day how to survive. Whether as an animal, as we have human animals, whatever. The point I'm making is, in the street, it's a reality real. So, I made the Jet Center a place where people will come and learn the reality and have a home base for kickboxing. And kickboxing became any type of fighting. In the street, in the ring, boxing, grappling, any type of fighting. That's what I made the Jet Center for people around the world to come learn kickboxing, to take kickboxing to their country. And so this is what it was about.
So this is your first book,
That's right.
Training and Fighting Skills, Benny the Jet Urquidez, done by with Emil Farkas and Stuart Sabell.
That's right.
So talk to us. How did this come about? Talk to us.
Well, because
Was this something you always wanted to do? Or was this someone that said,
Well, let me put it this way. How would I explain something when they said, in Japan, what are you doing? Full contact karate. What is that? Well, I do kickboxing. What is that? So I say, well, kickboxing came out by some girl seeing me shadow box. I'm boxing using my legs. He said, what is that? I said, full contact karate. They said, it looks like you're boxing and then you're using your legs. And it just came out of my mouth. Yeah, kickboxing. And I said, that's where this came from.
It's the epitome of
Because the word of kickboxing, I said, okay, if you have something, you have named something, what is it? So I started creating techniques for what is kickboxing. Makes, okay, this is what you can do. This is the kind of stuff you can do in kickboxing and so forth. Because now I found out that in Muay Thai, I was lean. I said, well, I'm not Muay Thai, I'm kickboxer. I do hook kicks, spin kicks, jump kicks, low kicks, this and that. I do elbows. Now I'm doing Muay Thai elbows and knees and clinching. Why? Because I got it from them. I said, okay, but I modified it for me. And so I took it and I put it in this book to teach the world kickboxing. So when I say kickboxing, what you asked me about, this is what it is. Read it, take it, and tell me what you think about it. That's what I came up with the book on. So that way, now I have a name. What is kickboxing? I had a system. Because in a system, you have to have levels of growth. Beginning, intermediate, advanced is what it started with. And then it became a weight system. Featherweight, lightweight, junior lightweight, middleweight, and on and on. It became that way for weights. It's technique. In technique, you can do low kicks and this. But in the second level, you can do thigh kicks, clinching, elbows and knees. And the third, so there was a system. I created a system, level 1 through 10, but I only allow level 1 through 5. You cannot be assistant instructor without going to the understanding. When you're level 5, then you can be an assistant instructor. That means you can teach the basic foundation of kickboxing. And that's what I left this around the world, that they can teach in their language, they can teach their students, family stuff, and create, because I wanted to make it an Olympic sport. And the only way I can do that is to get people around the world having fighters that we can all compete each other in the Olympics. That was my thought.
Okay, fabulous. That's it. We have like you're probably maximum 7 minutes left. So Zach's on go. So
Yeah.
so you'll know where to kind of roughly
For
back
sure,
7 minutes
for sure.
in the end. Zach's just going to bring this up. Then I'm going to ask you about a couple of fighters, legends in the world. And you just give me one word: fabulous, brilliant, heart of a lion, whatever.
I want to know what he thinks about if JC did this.
We'll ask
Gotta
that
be a
too,
good-
but ask him about this book now.
Yeah.
Please.
So Benny, I have this book that Tom gave to me. It was one of the first editions, apparently, he explained to me, which I thought was really awesome. You signed it. It's an awesome book. Talk us through this. How did this come about?
Well, first of all, the first book was about teaching what was kickboxing about. When I created a full contact, became kickboxing, took it to the world. Then people wanted to know, how did I become the Jet? Where did the Jet come from? How did I become the Jet? What does the Jet mean? What is that about? So I created this book. Is not about. This is kind of my resume.
Sorry, excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, but you're good.
Because this is there's so, even now the book, there's so much. I feel we're doing it an injustice with such little time. Can we do like at least 1 hour with you the next day you're coming in?
I'm not sure I can. Because I would love to do it, but I can't answer you right now on that.
What do you think? Because we're not going to get.
I'm okay with whatever. I think maybe we get what we can.
So give us an abbreviated version.
And we can always bring it back in when we're ready.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you could do it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So why don't you just introduce the book again? Okay. Since you could give us an abbreviated version, because We're just running out of topic. Sorry, and I also got a client in attention that's also.
So do I.
I know you do. I know, yeah.
Okay, so in regards to the Jet book, Tom Bleeker gave me a copy of this. It's an amazing book. You signed it. I appreciate that. Kind of give us a breakdown of what this book is about. We've discussed the first one.
What this one's all about is people want to know how the Jet became the Jet, and pretty much what I did. Because again, what I did was about putting through all my experience around the world, taking the understanding of a fight game, putting it to update of my resume. Because everybody would say, well, how'd you become the Jet? It's pretty much my resume of what I did and how I became the Jet. It's not really who I am, but it's what I done. That's why they call me the Jet.
Yeah, it's something of legend. I mean, I know even as a kid, I knew exactly who you were. I don't even know how I found out.
You couldn't help but find out. You were all over the place.
Yeah, it was all over the place, you know.
But
So,
Sensei, a couple of questions on close-up, because I know we're on the tight schedule and so on. I'm going to throw a few names at you, and then Zach has another question.
yes,
Short statement or one word. Guys you know very well, guys you came up with, guys who were around since. Joe Louis.
Joe Louis was the most awesome heavyweight fighter I've seen. I know him since, matter of fact, I fought him back in '65, but I never seen a heavyweight move and so clean with that side hook. I've never seen a heavyweight move like him. And plus, good looking move. He was good looking at the same time.
and he was built, man.
Yeah.
He was shredded.
The next one, Bill Wallace.
I was gonna ask
Now,
us-
Bill Wallace, the superfoot, I tell you what, how he got away with that left foot and that left hand, but you know what? He beat people with that front leg and that front hand. I have to admit, that, I mean, he was awesome just with the left leg and the left hand. What more or less if he knew how to hit? Because I tried to teach him a spinning back kick, but he says his legs, he says, just his front leg, not his back leg. And I always used to ask him about his back leg, but I think he was brilliant. He was brilliant with how he got away with that front leg and that front hand. The people all over the world.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, I tell you what, I've worked with him and I've known him for decades, and that man has the heart of a lion. Talking about Lionheart, they should have put right behind Lionheart Chuck Norris, his name, because again, he came up in that era of, I mean, I don't know, coming from the Army and the Marine, wherever he came from there, but I'll tell you what, in his mind, in his heart, furious.
Ed Barber.
Mr. Parker, talk about a philosopher. Talking about, I mean, this man will put you, just when he speaks, everybody shuts up and he'll put you in your awe because he is so much wisdom, so much experience, so much understanding, how to break things, how to break things down in such a way that I don't care what language you speak, you would understand it.
And responsible for the evolution of martial arts in America, without a doubt. He helped so many people, both within the martial arts and in the film industry. Louis Delgado.
I'm sorry?
Louis Delgado.
Oh, let me tell you, talking about, a man of disaster, he had no fear when he came. When that man, matter of fact, I fought him from New York. I fought him, let me tell you. He was one that had one gear. When he grabbed and he came, I mean, he was awesome, man.
Bob Wall.
Bob Wall was, you know what? Talking about character, man. But he was incredible. You know what? I think he would have been more awesome if he didn't fight with such anger, man. He has such a temper.
He did have it.
You
He's
know?
that Irish temper.
Oh my God.
Jerry Trimble. Jerry Trimble. I love watching that fight.
You know what? I love watching him play.
Howard Jackson.
You know what? Howard Jackson, God bless his soul, because I tell you what, that was one man. Not only I loved competing with them, but we had a lot of chances to do demonstrations together. And I tell you, that was one man I loved dearly with all my heart. He spoke the truth. He spoke what he meant. And when he said something, he did it.
I could keep going on. Zach, you've one last training.
In regard to, Jean-Claude was a huge inspiration lead growing up as well. How do you feel he would have done if he would have decided to take, let's say, a competitive route as opposed to the movie route? Let's say he got into kickboxing. How do you think he would have
living?
and did that for a living? How do you think he would have done?
You know what? With proper training, I think, because he's a man with such dedication and such discipline, I think he would get well. How good? I think he could have been a contender. I don't know about being a champion, but I do know it's about being a contender. He had the heart for it. He's so disciplined and so forth. He's got a lot of discipline and movement.
Sensei Benny, it's an honor and a privilege for both of us to have you here.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being on, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being you.